All right, we are back after some technical difficulties with the power. All right, we are back. Okay, so we see people coming in. Very sorry about those technical difficulties. Power just went off, and we're just coming back on, so we apologize for that. All right, I can't even remember what we were on. I know we were talking about Bernie.
We were talking about
Biden.
Obama.
Biden. Damn, you know what? I thought you said it wrong too. That's how messed up it is in here.
I said it right.
You said it right, and I thought you
said it wrong.
Obama.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it's.
Yeah, we were just talking about the probability or the possibility of Barack Obama coming out and endorsing him based on the things we were seeing people talking about on social media. Everybody was like, oh, here he comes. Mm-hmm. Obama come to save the day. We need Obama. I was like, man, I think about that for a second. Like, think about that. Like, why do you need Obama so bad? Like, I don't think people understand what that's saying about Joe Biden. Like, when Obama was running, it wasn't this worry about who was going to come out and just get behind him. Yes, Hillary Clinton ended up getting behind him. But, I mean, obviously, it was a positive endorsement, but I don't necessarily think he needed it. And she only did like 7 or 8 campaign trips for him. Mm-hmm. She didn't do as many campaign trips as Bernie Sanders did for her. There wasn't this need to have someone come and assist Obama to push him through. It wasn't like that. Well, at least I don't remember it being like that. I could be wrong.
No, I don't remember that.
So why this need for Obama to come and just jump in? They've been calling for him this whole time, though. They've been calling for Obama and they've been calling for Clinton this whole time. Because remember that segment at MSNBC? Dude was like, we need our heroes to come and rescue the party.
Right.
And I'm like, why can't the nominee do that? And this was at the beginning. Like,
that's when they perceived Bernie Sanders as a real threat, too.
This is before the primary even started.
Yeah.
Like,
where are you at, Obama? Where are you at, Hillary? You need to stop Bernie. That was the message. You need to stop Bernie. And we need that superhuman effort. We need the superheroes with the capes.
Where are the leaders at? I'm like, wow, y'all are desperate. Like, again, y'all are telling on yourselves.
All right, so let's get to something that was on CNN. So John King is one of the voices that are on CNN. And right after Bernie Sanders had made his address announcing his suspension of his campaign, John King responded to it with a little bit of lying. So we're going to first show what Bernie Sanders actually said, and this is pertaining to words that he had about Joe Biden. And then we're going to hear what John King said he did not say.
Today, I congratulate Joe Biden, a very decent man, who I will work with to move our progressive ideas forward.
Is Senator Sanders, in saying goodbye, did acknowledge that Joe Biden had an insurmountable lead, but he didn't say anything nice about Joe Biden. He did not say he'd spoken to him. He did not say he would work with him. He said it was imperative to beat President Trump, but there was no big embrace of Joe Biden. He said nicer things about Joe Biden back during some of the Democratic debates than he said in saying goodbye.
Now, they were only minutes apart, really. I mean, it's really just minutes apart because CNN, I'm pretty sure they had watched it. That they claimed that they watched Bernie Sanders' address. And minutes later, John King is on CNN saying that Bernie had no good words towards Joe Biden whatsoever. Well, that's false. It's absolutely false.
I mean, they played the clip on the... Didn't they play the clip?
Yeah.
They played the clip on the segment, right?
I don't know. I wasn't watching the segment. I don't know if it was just a live, they were actually playing while Bernie Sanders was live on Twitter and just live. Well, it was live on Twitter.
But they were referencing.
Yes, they were
referencing the video. Yeah.
So they had seen it in real time, I believe. They had seen it in real time. Now, of course, there was a lot of backlash on John King because, like we just showed you, Bernie Sanders obviously did have some kind words towards Joe Biden, like he always does. He always calls him a decent man, always calls him a friend, somebody that's trying to do right by people, stuff like that. So he did say these things, and John King was obviously wrong. So on Twitter, John King apologized. So he said, harpoons deserved and accepted, and my apologies to Senator Sanders. We had some technical issues, and I did not hear the "I will work with." The error was mine, and the blame lies with me, not anyone else in the conversation.
I'm here to tell you right now, I don't care. I don't care. Like, too late. Haha, too late. Haha, too late. That's too blatant.
Yeah.
That's just trying to save face. Like, you don't do something that blatant and then expect me to just wholeheartedly accept that apology. It was too blatant. And most likely the effects of it were greater than anything your apology could fix.
Right.
Sorry.
That's true.
Like, because he was pretty straightforward. He's a decent man, and he specifically said, I'm going to work. He's going to work with us, or I'm going to work with him. However he said it, he specifically said that. And then King must have ignored it.
Completely busted it up. Yeah,
Like,
he didn't do anything.
See, and here's the thing, and maybe this is the case. Even though I still don't accept the apology, this might be a case where they are so programmed to automatically be against Bernie Sanders, it just happens naturally. And maybe they're not even aware of it. So it might be a case where it wasn't even a conscious thing. It was like, I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter what he says. I am pre-programmed to always have something negative to say about Bernie Sanders, regardless of how he behaves or what he says. So he's only apologizing most likely because he doesn't want that inherent bias to just still take up space. It still take up that space that he created on that segment. He has to shut that off by issuing an apology. But apology is not enough to me, because why was he there in the first place not being objective? Like, his job as a pundit, as a media pundit, as a political analyst, is to be objective. And not only to be objective, to just listen to what somebody said. And he completely ignored what Bernie Sanders said. So to me, I think that apology was more network driven anyway. It was like, hey man, you gotta say something. You gotta get out there and say something to smooth this over. I'm just not accepting it, because I don't care. I don't know what's real anymore.
John King is not one of the, I guess, on my list of people that I've seen on CNN, either whether it be anchors, regular hosts, regular contributors, he's not high up there on the list that is deserving of my condemnation. Yeah. Usually when I see John King speak, it's usually, I have to admit that usually it's fair. Now, I would not say that he is a progressive by any stretch of the imagination. That's not where his coverage comes from. He tries to be a straight news guy, but that part is actually even offensive to me, because being a straight news guy, it seems if you're a straight news guy, you can't be as truthful as you should be about everything. You know, it's like you're trying to get all angles covered, but you won't call bullshit where it is. You know, so that offends me. But in terms of actually just like going against somebody like Bernie Sanders, going against progressivism, having like a deep-seated bias against it, that's not really the opinion I've ever gotten from John King. This could have been an honest mistake. It could have been. I'm not sure if it was or not. And like you said, it could have been something to where they already have it just already programmed into their systems. Of, okay, well, this is the narrative.
The environment is already there.
Yeah, this is the narrative about what Bernie Sanders is and what Bernie Sanders isn't. And we know Bernie Sanders is probably not going to do the right thing, what we perceive the right thing is to do in given this situation. So we didn't even hear it. You know, we didn't even hear it because it doesn't even exist for us. I don't know. Really, what I picked up on more, actually, what offends me more about that clip is not John King, it's everybody else. There were 3 other people in that segment, And you could see Dana Bash nod, or she was shaking her head as well when John King was saying that Bernie Sanders did not offer any positive words about Joe Biden. So you're talking about 4 different people, 4 different sets of ears, and nobody heard that Bernie Sanders said that Joe Biden is a decent guy and that he's going to work with him. Nobody heard that. Everybody's like, nobody was willing to correct John King on that. Nobody. So it is just what it is. And like you said, the apology, it's like, if you do that on a broadcast, if you make something like, headline news or front page news, and then you offer a correction that's on page 16, like, how much of effect is that going to have?
Yeah, you need to do it at least on the CNN website.
Exactly.
Not just on Twitter.
No, really, you need to do that on air.
Yeah, on air. I'm just saying at least.
At least, yeah.
At least if you're going to do it, like, they should at least upload a video to CNN's website.
Yeah.
At least. I'm saying that's the least they should have done.
Yeah.
But a Twitter apology?
That was weak. That was weak. He said that he does deserve the harpoons. If he's being honest, I mean, fine. But again, we've seen it so much where it's purposeful. It's not something that was just in good faith or just a good faith error. We've seen that it is it's meant to be damaging to who Bernie Sanders is, and just to give a CNN contributor or a CNN host the benefit of the doubt, given what the apology was and the format it was on Twitter, not on CNN, not on air. It's like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't have that. King doesn't offend me like most people do on CNN, but still, you could have done better here. And maybe you should pay better attention before you come across with some
it's either,
commentary.
it's whatever it is, it's not good.
No, it's not.
So he was either being intentionally dismissive in order to kind of shape a story around Bernie Sanders, or he was being slack.
Yeah. Either way, it's bad.
Either way, it's bad.
And when you see that familiar narrative on CNN too, and then you see what he says is an honest mistake, it's like, really? Honest mistake? Really? CNN?
And then, like you said, like somebody could at least corrected him. Yeah. That didn't happen.
But you did it on another platform. You did it on Twitter, where no doubt less people saw it. No doubt. All right. So one more clip for you, Fox News clip here. So after the news, after the announcement from Bernie Sanders that he was suspending his campaign, Tucker Carlson was responding to the news that Joe Biden is now the only person remaining standing in this race for the Democratic nomination. And this is just a short preview of how the conservatives in Washington and the conservatives on TV are going to hit Joe Biden.
All of which means Joe Biden is now the presumptive Democratic nominee. Nobody really chose Biden for this job. He wound up in it by a series of defaults, and it shows. Ask yourself, is Joe Biden ready to lead this country? Could he find his car in a 3-tiered parking garage? Could he navigate a salad bar? And by the way, what exactly is his position on the coronavirus pandemic? Those are the mysteries Democrats now face. Biden has been virtually invisible for the last month. That's not an accident. Joe Biden on camera means more moments like this.
We cannot let this, we've never allowed any crisis from the Civil War straight through to the pandemic of 17, all the way around 16. We have never let our democracy take second fiddle. We can both have a democracy and elections and at the same time correct the public health.
You follow that? Correct the public health. It's hard to imagine a man like that making it through a presidential debate or even staying awake through the inaugural proceedings. It seems likely that at some point Democratic leaders will try to find a way to replace Biden before the November election. Andrew Cuomo is the obvious replacement, but there are many others. Whatever happens, it's worth taking Joe Biden seriously for this moment.
Oof. Boy, they didn't waste any time. I mean, I knew it was coming. Everybody knew it was coming.
They've been waiting for this moment.
Seen a lot of
only pay attention to Biden.
yeah, exactly. Like they were waiting for Biden to have the spotlight all by himself. And I saw a lot of Biden supporters, a lot of people in the media, a lot of verified people on Twitter, getting mad because they were leftists sharing this. And they were like, oh, now you're sharing right-wing propaganda? Or you're collaborating with Tucker Carlson? I was like, no, highlighting how the other side is going to use material against Joe Biden is not a collaboration. It's just saying, we told you so. This is what you get. Do you think they weren't going to do this anyway? Like,
yeah, I mean, and more of it is due to come. You're going to hear about Hunter Biden.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're going to hear so much of this. And there is so much material that Joe Biden has provided, given his years-long service to this country. I can say years-long service.
This is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning. I mean, it pains me when I see Tucker Carlson and he comes off as reasonable.
Because it's easy to be reasonable with Joe Biden, just like it's easy to be reasonable when talking about Donald Trump.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just he that clip that he showed where Joe Biden was being interviewed on ABC. I don't know what Joe Biden was talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. I was like, yo, I'm gonna let you go ahead and translate that.
I don't really know. He was saying a lot of different things, but they
didn't go together.
They were words. They were words in English.
It's funny. Isn't it interesting? Like what you said, they were words and they were just all jumbled together and we couldn't make it out. It's ironic that Tucker Carlson mentioned the salad bar.
Yeah. He said he didn't think that he could navigate
a salad bar and that's
word salad.
A word salad. I was like, I don't think he did it on purpose, but I do think that was ironic.
And he did mix in the jokes, talking about that salad bar, saying that he doesn't think that Joe Biden could find his car in a 3-tier garage, make his way through inauguration. I mean, yeah, they're funny. I mean, that ha 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 ha, it's you mocking Joe Biden. But it's not like there's no substance there. There's actually substance there. There is substance behind the idea that Joe Biden isn't all there.
And that's just talking about him and his cognitive capability.
Yeah.
Wait till they get to like all the lies.
Oh gosh, man.
Wait till they get to all the lies he's told. I'm talking about, and you know they'll go back to 1988.
Of course
they'll go back to 1988 up until he lied about the whole Mandela thing.
Yeah.
Or lied about Social Security. And here's the rub. And this is what centrists don't understand. This is what Democratic voters don't understand either. Like just regular folk. We put too much weight on hypocrisy and calling out hypocrisy is going to somehow change people's behavior. They don't care. Oh, see, I'm about to do it again. I'm about to do it again.
It's like a chip was implanted or something.
Biden is running on like bringing integrity back to the White House. That's what he's running on. Orange man bad, Trump bad. We got to get integrity back to our institutions. I'm that guy. I can bring integrity. I was like, you're setting yourself up. Because if there is enough evidence to show, that shows that isn't necessarily true about you, you're stuck. And it doesn't matter whether Trump has the same flaws and the same weaknesses that you do. It doesn't matter. They don't care about hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is overrated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They'll
find their way out of it.
They'll find their way out of it. They weaponize it. It doesn't matter if, Trump is guilty of it too. Just like the reporter at the press conference asking him about how he voted absentee. Mm-hmm. And because he said I don't like voting absentee or the absentee ballot, that shouldn't happen. So much stuff goes on. The reporter was like, you voted absentee. And he was like, that's because I can.
Yeah.
You see that? You see how quick they do that? Mm-hmm. You see how quick he does that?
Yeah.
It's like, so
Significant problem, but I did it because.
So it doesn't matter.
No
It'll just all be a wash. It'll all cancel itself out. They'll just weaponize it, even if Trump is guilty of it too. If Biden, see, Trump already has the damn White House, so he can be guilty of it.
And you know it's difficult to unbeat an incumbent.
Yeah, so
it is difficult.
So it's kind of like how they weaponize the Bible to try to control people, regardless of whether they're following it or not. They're using it as a tool for control. So it doesn't matter. They're not using it in good faith.
Yeah.
So we have to expect that when it comes to how they deal with Biden too. Just wait till they get to the damn lies, and then wait till they get to the rape allegation.
Oh yeah, because they'll bring it up, and like you said, it won't matter that there have been many women that have accused President Trump of sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, sexual assault. Even it does not matter. It will be all about Joe Biden because guess what? They don't believe. They don't believe that Trump is guilty of any of those things.
Yeah, exactly.
But they'll believe that about Biden, same way that these Democratic supporters don't believe it about Biden. But guess what they believe it about Trump. It's crazy.
And so you have those voters who definitely won't be moved over to Biden. Whatever disaffected Republicans you have won't move over to Biden because they'll see the same thing in him.
Right.
And whatever independents that may sit out, they'll be thrown off by it because they're saying, well, what is he bringing? If he says he's going to bring some sort of integrity, like what is that? Is this integrity that he brings or he says he's bringing to the White House going to be a foundation for his advocacy for the working class? I guess that's what he's trying to say. I'm for the people. So me bringing integrity to the White House is automatically translates to me, I guess, supporting policy that benefits you. I don't know, maybe that's what he's trying to say. But if that is brought into question, that integrity, then what does he have to run on? He just has to run on, okay, we'll just go back to the way things were, and the way things were better. But I'm just like, isn't that why Trump got elected in the first place?
Yeah.
Because he ran
on getting us out of that, actually.
Getting us out of what Biden wants to get us back into.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's why Trump got elected. There's a lot of different reasons, but Trump played that fiddle. Trump understood that what kind of election it was. Obama had served 8 terms.
8 years.
My bad, dog. Obama served 8 years. Like, you know what it is after those 8 years. You can't run on the same message. As Democrats, they ran on the same message. Hillary Clinton wanted to continue Barack Obama's legacy. What did Barack Obama say? I'll be offended if you don't vote for Hillary Clinton.
Justice is on the ballot.
Justice is on the ballot.
Right.
So, I mean, that's what it was about. We always joked about that when it came to Hillary. We were saying it's Obama's 3rd term.
And Trump ran against that and won.
Yeah, because everybody saw the situation for what it was. Things just did not get better under Obama. So why would you make that strategic misstep? You can still be the same Democratic Party, a whack-ass party, but at least switch the message up. But they just wanted to continue this Obama's campaign into Hillary's supposed reign as president. That's what they wanted to do. That was what her campaign was about. Even though it was, what was her campaign slogan?
I'm with her.
Oh yeah, I'm with her.
Yeah,
I'm with her.
So Trump beat an extension of Obama.
Immediately,
right? So let's continue the Obama legacy, and that got beat by Trump. And then you brought in a guy that was the VP of that administration. Now you bring in the guy that was had the most autonomy.
He was the Batman.
He was the Batman to Obama's Biden. I mean, Obama's.
Obama's Batman.
Up. Obama's Robin. I guess.
Robin. Yeah.
Robin, Biden. It's all messed up, man. It's all messed up. But anyway, this is the wrong guy. If you want to beat Trump, if you want to show a different vision for this country than what Trump is professing, you probably have to put forth somebody that's the antithesis to that. And Biden isn't that.
And all he does is simplify the message. And I think that's what Trump's campaign proved, regardless of how buffoonish he was, all you got to say is like some magic words, like jobs. Jobs. That's really all you got to say. Jobs, prosperity.
Yeah.
That's really all you got. Jobs,
Economy,
prosperity,
business,
economy,
stock market,
corruption, drain the swamp. So it's very simple.
Yeah.
So it's very simple. So all that other stuff, just kind of like goes out of the window.
Yeah.
There was a tweet. Somebody, I don't want to fuck it up, but it says something like, something y'all are screaming about Supreme Court picks. Somebody can't afford their cancer treatment. You see what I'm saying? So to me, I was like, that's kind of like illustrating like what people's concerns are. Like, it's just, these are just simple concerns that, that people are, that are on people's minds. So if you could just tap into that and just hammer that home, it doesn't really have to be so intricate. You don't have to have all these intricate plans. You can have it. It does help to be grounded with those intricate plans. But you do have to have a simple message to complement those plans. And even though Trump didn't really have any plans, he knew he wasn't going to do any of that shit. He said he was going to have health care the first year. Peel and replace.
Right. A wall.
He's going to lock Hillary up.
Yeah.
All
simple.
that stuff.
All this is simple.
And so, and he just hammered it in a very simple way, a way that people could like understand. And that's how he was able to get over. I don't know. It just seems as if he can exploit all of Biden's weaknesses. Now, we don't know how people are going to reflect upon Trump's first 4 years in office. We don't know that. We don't know how disgruntled and scared they'll be. I think what we're going through right now with this coronavirus situation, I think this is like that last little, like on a roller coaster. It's
this
that
is last opportunity.
That last little loop, that last hill you go through before it ends. So
he could come out of this looking good,
regardless of all the
could.
bullshit. Again, we covered the bullshit. We're not saying that it's not there, but people have short memories, and it depends like how this thing looks at the end. And it's not just how Trump is going to look. Democrats are going to look a certain way too, because like I think Trump could come out of this a winner either way, because if this coronavirus situation is not resolved with a very significant economic relief plan that everyone could agree with. And when I say everyone, I'm talking about the American people. The Democrats can get some blame too. But what if it's successful? What do they do? It's like, oh, look what Trump did.
Yeah, because it'll be a part of his administration.
It'll be a part of his
It'll
administration.
be his pen that's signed this legislation into law and helping the American people, right?
Yeah. So it's just weird. And again, we also have to factor in Biden. Where is he going to be? How is he going to look?
Months later.
He's
already looking.
He's already looking. What's the term? Weak and what? Weak and flabby, or flabby and weak.
Flabby and sick.
Flabby and sick. My man is already looking flabby and sick. So it's like they're going to have to hide him, or they're going to have to give him some stimulants when he's on the debate stage with Donald Trump. And man, I'm going to hate to watch that shit.
Oh man, that's going to be horrible.
Horrible.
It was bad to get through Clinton and Trump.
We might have to start drinking, like a drinking game, man, or something. That's the only way to get through it. Like
People have proposed that before, have that drinking game through the debates, and might need to do that, man, because that will be. I mean, again, we don't know what the landscape will be like then. Even if we're still dealing with the height of the coronavirus in the United States, they'll probably still show up at the same place for a debate. May not be an audience or anything like that, but they won't need one to let it get out of hand. I mean, it will get ridiculous, and
I don't know, like, even if Biden, if Biden wins, like, will they be able to take back the Senate? Like, and there's more seats up for grabs for Republicans, but will they be able to take it back? You know, if we're talking about excitement for Joe Biden, it's low, and that's amongst his own supporters. So if that's the case with his own supporters, even if he manages to eke out a win, like, how does that, I don't know, like, how does that translate when you're talking about down ballot races that are going to be occurring?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, right around the same, like, how does that gonna, like, pan out? Like,
see, this time right here too, like, Trump has a better opportunity to create energy because he's actually the one that's supposed to be leading us through this coronavirus outbreak and this crisis that we're living in. But Bernie Sanders was doing the most. He had providing updates. I mean, I'm sure he still will as well. But as a candidate, as the nominee, if you're the nominee going up against the president and you're showing the American people what you would be like as a leader, I think that would create a lot of energy, or that has the potential to create a lot of energy. Joe Biden, given what he's doing surrounding the coronavirus, I don't believe he's drumming up a whole lot of excitement.
He's in some bunker somewhere.
Yeah, I don't.
He's just in some bunker somewhere. Like, he's doing a few live streams here and there, but it's like he's in a bunker somewhere.
And he's saying a lot of unintelligible things. It's just like I don't. That clip that Tucker Carlson showed is, you don't even know what he's talking about. So I don't think he's drumming up excitement. And then again, talking about going towards November, again, we don't know what the landscape's going to be. We don't know what campaigning is going to be like, if there is actual physical campaigning. So it is on the Democrats to encourage people to vote for them, to vote for their guy, to drum up all this excitement. They're not going to have the same opportunity to do it like they have been in previous years because we are living in a different time. So without those tools that you usually have, are you going to be able to get your guy across that goal line?
They better set up some campaign offices. I mean, it's been talked about so much. If we're talking about Joe Biden's, I guess, campaign apparatus, it was really non-existent.
That's correct. He was non-existent in several states. Meaningful states with a lot of delegates. He was virtually non-existent.
That's not gonna do it in the general election. He has to have some sort of, like, campaign apparatus. He has to have a ground game, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're trying to appeal to Bernie Sanders supporters.
Because they want him to do it for him. They want Bernie to be one of the lead guys, because it's not going to be Joe Biden.
Yeah, because they want to take Bernie's ground game and that
just transfer it.
Yeah, the apparatus he set up and just transfer it to Joe Biden.
Hillary Clinton, again, we know that Hillary Clinton in 2016, she neglected to campaign in several states that were in the Midwest, and she lost those states. Joe Biden, again, we don't know what campaigning is going to look like in the next few months, but I think there is a lot of wisdom to the idea that they're going to try to hide Joe Biden. Hiding Biden. It's crazy. But hiding Joe Biden.
Maybe that'll get the other word out of your head.
Maybe so.
But you keep saying
Maybe
that,
so.
man.
But hiding this dude, I'm going to say it like that. Hiding this dude is not going to, it's not going to increase support. So
No.
It's like, it's not a good, I don't think it's a good landscape for the Democratic Party. I don't think it's a good landscape for Joe Biden. If I had to bet today, I would not bet that Joe Biden is going to win in November. I would not do it whatsoever. I think, given what we know, given what the landscape can be, given the lack of enthusiasm behind Joe Biden and the Democratic Party and their inability to use familiar tools.
One thing, there's so many variables at play here. And so, I mean, Joe Biden could make it through a general election and win. I think it'd be close. I'm definitely not saying it's impossible, but like, it's just really not clear how people perceive Donald Trump. His approval rating should be lower than what it is. It should be. It should be lower than Bush's before he left office. It should be, but it's not.
Should.
So all we have to go on is polls.
And how are they going to perceive him
How
in
they're
the
going
next
to
few months,
how
too?
they're going to perceive Trump in the next few months. So maybe the Democratic National Committee is banking on Trump being so unpopular that, they can push a Biden through with not a lot of effort. So they're banking on, they're gambling basically. I'm not saying it's impossible. It could very well be possible. It could very well be possible that Trump slides so far down that people will be okay with any candidate and they'll be okay with Joe Biden. That's probable.
I say it's possible. I don't know if it's probable. I don't think that Trump is doing enough to offend people.
And that's
You know
the
what I'm saying?
and
I don't think he's doing enough to
and,
offend people to say, you know what, this guy is not going to get my vote.
and that's the thing. Like, whatever you get from Trump is what we get from Trump. It's like he is like watching press conferences now. It's really no different than watching press conferences 2 years ago. There's really no difference. I'm not necessarily desensitized, but he is where he is, and he's always been there. So however he offends people, how many lies he gets caught up in, it's not really affecting him. And it's like, honestly,
This is regular now.
and it's regular. And quite frankly, I think the media does a poor job at questioning him and trying to get answers out of him. That's why I think he likes doing the press conferences now. He's more comfortable because he already knows what he's going to do. All he's going to do is, based on how correspondents or the White House press ask him questions, he already knows what he's going to do because they already give up the goods. When they ask the question, they already state the objective. They already state the subject matter. They already state where they're going to go at the beginning of the question. Like, they'll say something like, "So, President Trump, yesterday you made a statement that," and they start and they repeat the statement. Right there, Trump already knows what the question is going to be about. And you know what he does? He looks for a moment to interrupt, and then he talks over them because he's already given them the goods. So they ask questions incorrectly, and then they come back every day getting slapped upside the face, and then they want us to feel sorry for them. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. You need to ask questions better. You need to restructure your questions so he doesn't know what hit him until the end. You'll put him in a worse position. He still might try to slide out of it. I'm not saying he wouldn't do that, but it looks a lot worse. They need to do a better job at cross-examining Trump. Like how a prosecutor or cross-examine a witness or something. They do a bad job at that, and they keep coming back and then coming back. And they keep getting slapped across the face, but they don't change their strategy and how they question him. And they wonder why Trump is just okay with standing up there saying what he says. And so he just keeps getting away with it. And it's partially their fault.
Reality is that humans just don't care enough. And, journalists could do a better job. These reporters could do a better job at, significantly or asking questions in a way to get across their message or to put Trump in a bind, even more so than he would be. It's too easy, like you said, for him to swat these reporters away, swat these questions away. But like I said, ultimately, people don't care. Ultimately, people don't care, and that's the reality. Look, we're not going to get anywhere in this country or even in this world until people start caring more. Not just about themselves, but about other people. That's where we'll actually do some damage. And when I say damage, I mean damage to the apparatus that's damaging us. That's the point where we're actually going to make some moves forward. If we don't change us, if people don't change themselves, if people don't start caring about other people, then the same politicians that we're used to will continue to be elected to office, and they'll continue to do the same thing that they have been doing, and that's not representing people whatsoever. If Joe Biden can be a better candidate than he was in 1988, even with more lies, even given his cognitive decline, even given the sexual assault allegation, given all these things, people are still comfortable enough to say, well, you know, we don't want Bernie Sanders. No, Biden's the guy. He's the one that's going to return us to normal, or he's the one that's going to. I don't even think they said that's going to push us forward. I don't even think I ever hear them say that. It's just like they want the country to be taken back, and just they don't say the part about return to normal. They just want the White House taken from Donald Trump. And I guess anybody will do it. But the way they push Joe Biden forward is like he is actually the best guy for the job. He's the best leader that we need. And even though they will say they support Bernie Sanders' ideas and his proposals, they actually don't want it implemented, because if you did want to implement it, who best than the guy that's actually proposing the ideas? It's ridiculous. People, again, just don't care enough.
So what do they care about? So they care about, like we say what? People before profits? Maybe we should say also say people before politicians.
Yeah.
Because that's what it seems like people care about more. It's like they care about the team more.
Right.
They care about
their identity is tied into
the Democratic Party or
politicians or
tied to
or
the
party.
politician.
Yeah.
And I you know what, like that kind of hit home after Bernie dropped out, because Breonna Joy, his national press secretary, as soon as she dropped out, she started getting all these attacks. Like, and people started making memes and photoshopping her head onto, like, I guess, service industry people, and saying like, oh, look at her now, she's unemployed. Look what she has to do. Like, they photoshopped her head onto like some fast food worker. They photoshopped her head onto sanitation worker, somebody picking up trash. They photoshopped her head onto something else, some other worker, like working in like on a factory or something. And I was like, hold on a second. I was like, you're trying to clown her, but you're revealing that you hate working people. Like, why is that? Why do you think that's demeaning? Like, you know, now she's unemployed because she doesn't work for Bernie. So now you Photoshop her head onto working class people's bodies who are in the middle of a job. And I was like, that's it. They don't care about people. That proves it right there. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't use that as like a tool to shame somebody if you respected working class people. That tells me you don't even care about people, and it's just like, I see why you would support somebody like Joe Biden, because that's the only you know what I'm saying? Like,
his campaign has never been about actually representing people and caring about people. And just to tell you about Bernie's campaign and what Bernie's campaign is doing for his campaign staff, they're going to extend their health care benefits through the month of November.
Now, originally, it was just going to be through his campaign period.
Right. But they're providing that protection. They're providing those benefits to all his campaign staff now, even though he is no longer running for president, all the way through November 2020.
That's very Trump-like, right? Wait a second. The billionaire who ran.
Yep, that's been over $500 million on his campaign.
Didn't he take away?
He sure did.
Didn't he?
After promising.
Yeah.
Michael Bloomberg promised his campaign staff that they would get paid through November. Through November. He would be there for them through November. And then he said, well,
psych.
I did what I set out to do, and that was destroy the chances that Bernie Sanders could come away with the nomination. And now, you know, it looks like Biden's going to be the nominee. So I'm out.
So he made promises. Multi-billionaire made promises. And he had the means to fulfill that promise.
Yep. More so than Bernie Sanders. Yes.
Like, if that's not like a metaphor for what these greedy bastards and these greedy ghouls do every day, you know what I'm saying, then, geez. Like,
But they were proud to have Bloomberg support for Joe Biden, though. Very proud to have his support.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because Bloomberg touted that endorsement on Twitter. Biden touted Bloomberg's endorsement on Twitter. He's like, thank you, Bloomberg, blah, blah, blah. I didn't see shit from people. All that hand-wringing about Joe Rogan, who ain't had a government position in his life. All that hand-wringing about Joe Rogan, but no smoke for Bloomberg,
right,
whose policies actually negatively impacted the lives of black and brown people. Like, come on. Like,
no smoke.
No smoke for him.
Just like, welcome to the team.
For Biden, championing that endorsement. Oh, that was not criticized at all. You had Bakari Sellers, Joe Henry. Everybody was like, yeah, Bloomberg. We may need him to beat Trump. We need his money. And I was like, wow, he actually did things. But Joe Rogan is the worst. A podcaster. Mm-hmm. Podcaster is what, tanked Bernie Sanders.
Bloomberg actually hurt people.
Yeah, exactly.
He actually hurt people. Physically, he actually hurt people. And he was joyous about it. When asked about it, he was joyous about it. Hey, I think white people should be stopped less. Black people should be stopped more. If you just look at the statistics, this guy, it's celebrated. Yeah, like, welcome to the team, Mike Bloomberg. We're going to need your help in defeating the most dangerous president in the United States history. But like you said, Joe Rogan, that's a bridge too far. Joe Rogan is a bridge too far, even though he didn't stop and frisk not one damn person. Not one person, man. All right. So we are interested in what you may have to say specifically about Bernie Sanders essentially dropping out of the race. Again, we know that he will stay on the ballots in the remaining states, but he has suspended his campaigning. And we do want to see, or we do want to hear from you. What is your take on this? There's different takes on this, Some people feel as though this was coming. Again, after the Voltron candidate emerged, the Voltron support emerged. A lot of people saw this coming, so this is, it's not a surprise. But a lot of other people feel differently and felt like Bernie Sanders did the wrong thing at this time right now, and that it was a weak characteristic actually that showed up, and that he didn't call out I guess some tactics by the DNC and the Democratic Party, didn't call him out. He's way too, I guess, accepting of the open corruption. So like I said, there's different takes. We just would like to see where you fall in that, So if you would like to express your opinions, the time is yours, 669-900-6833. We would love to hear from you. And again, Wisconsin that voted on Tuesday, ridiculously.
It was like 3% turnout or some shit.
Stupid, man. But yeah, I don't believe we're going to see any of those results until the earliest Monday, I believe.
I think that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back, too. It's not just the results. It's probably Bernie Sanders seeing the conditions. Yeah, people standing out in the rain, old people.
Yeah, ridiculous. All right, so we have a caller waiting now. Let's get that caller on the air. Let's see. All right, so we're going to go to 678 area code. You're on the air live with LTMB.
Hey, what's up? This is Tony.
Tony.
What's going on, Tony, man? Long time.
ATL, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man. What's going on with you?
Yeah, just I think Bernie dropping out is unfortunate because one of the main things, even if he went all the way to the convention and didn't get the nomination, he would have still at least had enough delegates for the concessions. Now we don't get shit.
and that's I guess and that's what he's that his message was that he was going to stay in the remaining states to get more delegates. Now I do wonder how many people are going to still vote for him. I know when it comes to the state, I'm sure a lot of people will still vote for Bernie Sanders, but you can imagine that it's still going to be depressed. Like that that overall
Yeah.
number that he would have got.
There's
is
a
definitely gonna
threshold
be
he's
lower.
got to break, and if he doesn't
Right.
break that threshold,
Yeah, he doesn't get anything. Yeah, that's true.
exactly. And that's why I'm like, what the fuck? And
Right.
it's like, now here comes Joe Biden. He's throwing out like, oh, yeah, I'll make Medicare to 60. It's like, no, dude, what kind of concession is that?
Right. That's nothing. That's essentially nothing.
Like, you're throwing out more stuff for boomers and stuff. And you know, and of course, Sanders had a tremendous pressure, you know, just from the media to drop out. He goes on The View and they're just, you know, trash talking him, and it's like, God.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, it's unfortunate that we arrived here. Bernie's campaign was doing incredibly well until that until everybody dropped out.
The Kloba, Buddha, Biden, Kloba, Buddha, Biden,
Beto,
Kloba, Buddha, Biden, Beto, Harris, Booker Jar.
And you know Obama had something to do with it. If they're reporting that Obama made some phone calls, but they don't tell you what it was talked about, well,
Yeah.
obviously Obama told them, hey, y'all need to group behind Biden so that y'all can get a position in his cabinet.
I mean, I think that's probable that something like that happened. We know that Obama didn't vocally express, you know, where he wanted to, put his support behind. And, you know, for Obama, I think that was a smart move for him because he didn't want, well, first of all, he didn't want to get behind the loser and then feel like, yeah, I mean, well, damn, I mean, how do I look now? So, yeah, he was going to wait until this thing all shaked out and there was, you know, a presumptive nominee. But that does not mean that he doesn't have to work behind, or that he can't work behind the scenes. And I don't have any evidence to back that up, but it does make sense that he would use his influence to try to develop a lot more support behind Joe Biden, because at the time before the South Carolina primary, yeah, Joe Biden's campaign was not doing well at all. And then he got that assistance and everything changed.
Yeah, but also with all of them dropping out, practically within, 10 days, 7 days of each other?
Yeah, like really close. Like Buttigieg released a statement I think it was like Sunday. It was like that Sunday that he was like pretty much staying in. Like rumors that I'm dropping out are not true. He's still like fundraising that month, like that Sunday.
Yeah, and then the next day,
the Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, the next day his plane turned around.
His plane turned around.
They were going to Texas to campaign, I believe, and then the plane turned around heading back to Indiana. So this seemed like something very impromptu.
Or they were going to Indiana and they came.
You had all those voters
they were
fractured
that's right.
amongst all those centrist candidates. So Bernie was projected to, he was tracking to get the plurality of the votes. But when you have all the centrist votes and delegates get funneled immediately to Joe Biden, well, of course Bernie ain't going to win. Who the hell's going to be able to fight against that? And then people are talking about, oh, Joe Biden did it. No, he had a lot of help. Are you watching the same election I'm watching?
Right. He did. And the only thing that could have helped Bernie at that point was if there was a similar measure on the left side. If there was a countermeasure, and that would have been if Elizabeth Warren wasn't a true progressive and she got out and put her support behind Bernie Sanders. Maybe that would have helped. I'm sure it would have helped on that Super Tuesday. I'm sure it would have helped there. I'm sure he probably would have won Minnesota. He probably would have won Massachusetts. Probably could have won Maine. Would have won Texas. He would have done better in the other states that he did end up winning as well. California. It would have been a whole different game.
But yeah, that's very disappointing. But that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, man. We're with you, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate
Good to hear from you, Tony.
Bro.
All right, y'all take it easy.
You too, man.
Read a comment from Casey.
Kath Casey. The last one right here?
Yeah.
So Kath Casey says, do you think Bernie couldn't bring himself to ask people for money during this crisis?
That's good speculation. Yeah, I think that's a logical speculation. I was going in the same direction, but just in regard to just the obstacle of voting in the first place. That's where I was going when I said, Tuesday was the last straw. I'm pretty sure he saw what was going on. It was like, okay, this can't go down like this. But that's probably an issue as well, like asking for donations in these situations, or in this situation where that's probably a factor then too. I don't think that would be something he would say though, but I think that's a logical speculation.
It could. I mean, look, again, campaigning right now is different than, campaigning a month or two ago. So, I assume, they still need money to operate. They definitely have staff to pay. They have, if they wanted to run ads, they definitely still need money to do that as well. So yeah, you still do need donations. If he was leading, of course, we wouldn't be talking about this. If he was within maybe 50 delegates of Joe Biden, probably wouldn't be talking about this. He'd probably still be in the race. But given the way it's going, is there an opportunity for Bernie Sanders right now to increase his numbers, to take away support from Joe Biden and increase his overall vote turnout? Can he do that given right now, like the situation that we're in? Can he do that? I don't know. I think there is something to say about maybe this was a little bit too early to get out, maybe, because Wisconsin happened, but it shouldn't have. We know that. Wisconsin shouldn't have voted when it did. The other states that are still yet to vote, I can't say that every single one of them, but I believe most of them have already postponed their primary days or their caucus days. So we're still kind of like in a pause, wait and see mode. So it wasn't like it was absolutely necessary for Bernie Sanders to make this decision right now. And even if he was losing badly, I've said before, it's such a weak argument for people to say, well, you have to get out because we have to stop the race and we have to get behind who's going to become the eventual nominee because, you're just weakening the candidate and blah, blah. I've never gotten behind that type of logic. It's completely asinine. It's ridiculous. There's a schedule, right? There's a schedule. There's a process. Everybody that fielded the question about what should happen at the convention if nobody has the total amount of delegates that's needed to get the Democratic nomination. Everybody fielded that question and everybody said, well, there's a process. We should follow the process. Meaning that the one that had the majority of delegates shouldn't become the nominee. So everybody said, follow the process, follow the process, follow the process. Well, there's an actual Democratic voting process as well. There's a primary process. There's a caucus process. Why don't we just follow that as well? Why don't we just let everybody that wants to keep running, that has the funds to keep running, why don't we just let them keep running until the end and then see what happens? But no, you can't do that because if Bernie stays in the race, oh, he's a spoiler and he's so egotistical and oh, he only cares about himself. He doesn't care about the mission.
That doesn't make any sense considering, it doesn't make any sense that he's the one getting that flack. He's the one who's receiving the scorn, even though, by admission, the answers the other candidates gave actually was signaling hey, I'm going to go all the way, regardless of how I do. I'm going to go all the way regardless of how I do. Or I'm going to expect there to be a process in place if I don't receive enough votes. That's what all the other candidates said, but they didn't receive the same scorn. Bernie just said, yeah, the person that basically the person that scores the most points should win. That's pretty simple.
Very simple.
That's pretty simple. You can't chide him for saying that.
Yeah.
But the other candidates
got no smoke.
They got a free pass, even though they kind of gave up the goods. They were like, I'm gonna stay in even though people ain't gonna vote for me. And I'm hoping there's a process that's going to push me through, even though I don't have enough delegates.
Even though I haven't even won a state like Elizabeth Warren.
But she wasn't characterized in the same way.
No. All right. Taking a call from 218 area code. You're on the air live.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Who's this?
Hey, this is Christopher from Minnesota.
What's up,
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, as always, I love you guys' analysis, and I'm glad to see you guys are still fighting a good fight. I just wanted to point out something that's been bothering me, and it has to do with this primary and voting. And it's like Bernie actually did win. Like, when you look at the polling, like after South Carolina, that was on a Saturday, I think, and there was like 2 days.
Yes, sir.
And then all of a sudden Obama makes these phone calls and, he gets all these endorsements, Beto O'Rourke, Klobuchar, Buttigieg. But meanwhile, the polling on Tuesday for Super Tuesday, that morning, the polling all showed Bernie way in the lead in all these states. We're talking California, Texas, we're talking Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, like all these states, he was way in the lead, right? And in 2 days, do you really think that is all going to change, including like mail-in ballots that people had voted for Bernie weeks before? And then you look at like the NSA's and control of the voting machines. And then supposedly, even in like New Hampshire, when they're saying, yeah, it's all done by paper ballots, but then you hear that certain precincts had voting machines. And it's like you look at the results coming in for New Hampshire, and like Bernie's way in the lead in the very beginning, right? And then as time goes by throughout the evening, Buttigieg keeps creeping up, and almost takes it from Bernie. It's like, and then even the Sanders campaign goes, oh yeah, we just didn't get the young voter turnout like we did in 2016. No, we did. It's just that the DNC, Democratic Party, from state to state, they're fucking flipping the voting machines right in front of us. And there is documentation for that. And, I've gone on other shows like Michael Brooks and stuff and pointed that out. And they're like, yeah, I believe, the voter oppression, in Texas and all this with long lines, closing voting stations, all this and that. But they said, no, we need to see some reporting. We need to see some documentation on this vote flipping stuff. It has been reported. CNN had exit polls, right? And the discrepancy was over the margin of error of 4%. And supposedly the U.S. looks to other nations, and when the exit polls don't match the results, then they say it's a fraudulent election. Well, why don't they do that here? And why don't people talk about it? It's like, and then they just turn around and say, oh, it's the young voters' fault. They didn't show up. No, they did. It's just that they flipped their fucking votes over to Biden. It's very apparent. I mean, going into Super Tuesday, Biden was at like 6%, and Klobuchar was in the lead at 28% or whatever, and she dropped out. And Bernie was at like 23%. This is the polling the day of Super Tuesday. And then all of a sudden Biden wins Minnesota? Yeah. No fucking way, man. No fucking way. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. And there is websites out there that shows the CNN exit polls not matching the results. And then also Lee Camp did a video about it. And, I know he's a comedian and stuff, but he's not stupid.
No. Yeah.
So I just think that it should be talked about more instead of just shaming young voters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot of validity and reason to go along with what you're saying. I think a lot of people believe, can and do believe that something nefarious can go on like that. Vote flipping, messing with the machines, hacking machines, stuff like that. I was just watching a documentary, Kill Chain, that was, it was on HBO, I believe, just a few days ago. but that was about our cybersecurity and the elections in America, this and that. One reason why I guess I don't talk about it as much as I should, or as much as maybe I even think about it, is because it doesn't seem to be like there's a method to changing this. It's not even our political candidates talk about this. I don't even believe Bernie Sanders really talks about the vote flipping or the possibility that's even out there. It's more so about protecting our elections, Russian hacking, blah blah blah. That's not really getting down to the issue when we have something that can happen domestically and trying to interfere with our elections. There's just not enough accountability. There's not enough transparency. We know that in many states, there's not paper ballots. We've never had paper ballots here as long as I've been alive, or as long as I've been voting. Never had paper ballots here. We just got new machines this year where at least there is a printout, but still the whole process is not transparent. I know that there in some other countries, there are paper ballots and the whole thing is being recorded. So it's a very transparent process. We don't have that here. So even if you get into the subject of like, this is what's happening, or this is what I think is happening, that kind of narrative is going to fall on deaf ears because people don't have, I guess, evidence to go along with that being a possibility. And if you don't have evidence to sustain that type of narrative, again, people are going to be like, I don't know if that's right. Yeah, probably not. Whatever. It's just not even a second thought or even a first thought for a lot of people. They just think, I go to the polls, I vote, I did my job. Whatever comes is exactly the way it should be. If it comes out and Bernie Sanders didn't win, well, he should have got more support, and that's it. It's like there's nothing behind the scenes. There's no other reason.
Right. I mean, I see what you're saying. It's like if you're going to quash this news, then people won't hear about it.
Right.
And I don't know if you guys know about Greg Palast, but he reported on 2016 and all the vote flipping. I mean, there was testimonials from people all over the country where they go in and they put in their vote for Bernie, and it would say, "Thank you for voting for Hillary Clinton." It would just flip it right in front of their face. And when you don't have a paper trail, you can't verify it. But even CNN's own exit polls coming out live during these elections were showing the exit polls favored Bernie Sanders. I mean, even in 2016 in New York and the Bronx, the exit polls were coming in, and I was watching TYT cover it. And Jank's like, holy shit, Bernie's got a chance, like they're neck and neck. And then an hour later, the results start coming in, or minutes later, the results start coming in where, Hillary's like a 8 to 12 point lead. And so the thing is those voting machines can be flipped remotely with no trace. Like just any little teenager hacker could do it, and they can't tell. And when they're, owned by companies within like the DNC and the NSA, the NSA was put in charge of the voting machines, and they're outdated because they like them, because they can manipulate the vote. And also, even if it was a legit election, the DNC could just say, no, we're going to decide on going with Cuomo or Biden or Kamala in a smoke-filled room anyway. You guys heard about the court case in Florida. So anyway, the primary is a joke. And it doesn't matter. Like, we have millions of people going door to door for Bernie. It's obvious the people wanted Bernie. But no, even Joe Manchin said anyone but Bernie. Anyway, there's probably other callers. Anyway, I love you guys reporting. I just wanted to point out that we can't blame the young voter turnout. We can't. Okay. All right. I love you guys.
Thanks for calling.
Appreciate you for calling.
Yeah, when exit polls are off by a certain percentage in other countries, you know what we do.
Exactly. Coups.
We do coups.
We do
that country needs regime change.
Exactly.
It's not having free and fair elections.
That documentary that I was talking about, Kill Chain. there was a hacker that he didn't want to be identified, of course, but his claim was that he hacked into the I guess the website of, I don't know if it was the Alaskan Electoral Committee. I don't know exactly what it's called.
Like a party office.
Well, I don't even think it was. I don't know if it was it was by the state. I mean, it was a website government, managed by the state, and he got in there and he said that he could have changed anything that he wanted to. He could have accessed the votes. I think he did access the votes, but he didn't change anything because he said even though it was a rush, he didn't want to get caught. That's like a hacker's worst nightmare. Like, that thought of, man, if it could trace back to me and my people, then we're all done.
We're all done.
So he just observed. He said he just was looking at stuff. He didn't change anything. But he said that he definitely had an opportunity to do so. So, I mean, it can be done. It seems like it can be done. I mean, just the possibility that it can be done. These are machines. You would think that there would probably be a way to access them remotely. I mean...
Yeah, there was some issue with some of the machines in 2016 where they weren't closed network machines.
Yeah. It's crazy. But the thing is, how do we fix that? We can all do our work to try to get a politician elected. We can all do that. We can go door to door. We can do, we can make calls. We can donate money. We can do all of these things. Talk to people. We can do all these things, and it seems like, yeah, we're doing something. We're trying to get progress forward, trying to move the ball, this and that. When it comes down to the actual voting phase, like the method in which we use to actually vote, is it going to be a transparent process or is it not? How do we get to fully transparent? How do we get to, okay, we need paper ballots across the board. We need hand counting. We need this process video recorded. We need all of these things to ensure the credibility of the outcome. How do you act? I mean, really, when there's not when there's not a significant push by the people to actually get that done, it's not going to get done. All right, we got another caller, 607 area code. You are on the air live with LTMB.
Hey, everyone, it's Fred.
Who's this?
I was called Frez.
Frez.
Oh,
from the
Frez
chat.
again.
What's going on, Frez?
What's up, Frez?
What's going on? Yeah, it's a very depressing day for me.
Understandable.
But did you say you can't understand me?
No.
I said, that's
Understandable.
That's understandable. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Your sentiments are understandable.
But I would like to lighten everyone's mood and let you know that Boris Johnson is now out of ICU.
He's what? Boris Johnson's what?
He's out of ICU.
Oh, he is.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Man.
I know.
Just, yeah,
I-
I'm so grateful.
I mean,
I mean, he probably has access to the greatest care.
Yeah, wonderful news.
even Trump wanted to help him get better. It's so crazy. This is a little off topic, but have you guys noticed Trump's ramping up in South China?
So yeah, I don't know if somebody mentioned that in the chat, but are they sent like a little I don't even know what you call it. Like they sent like a group of ships or some shit.
Yeah, they've been sending warships, and they've also, and the way they are putting it, they've blocked off portions of Venezuela. They blocked off where access to Venezuela. Well, they're trying to block off access to Venezuela. It's just weird.
Huh.
Trump's pandemic planning is the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I felt like we all should be on the lookout because it seems like Trump is making a lot of military moves during all of this, and it's a little surprising.
Well, I wish he would have made one military move, and that was to, I guess, adhere to that Pentagon guideline about how to deal with a a pandemic that was drafted in 2017, early 2017.
Yeah.
That was one military move that he could have made. He could have just accepted that.
I mean,
and,
but you got to remember the intellectuals. We don't want those guys. You know, Republican Party can't have any intellectuals.
need a businessman.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it worked so well with George Bush and his father. Of course, it's going to work this time.
Yeah, man. I mean, what are you gonna do though, right? What are you gonna do? I mean, really, this is the option is right now. I mean, the way it's looking, it's gonna be Joe Biden and it's gonna be Donald Trump. You know, now I know a lot of people are not going to vote for Joe Biden. I would think that even given that there were more Bernie Sanders supporters that voted for Hillary Clinton than Hillary Clinton supporters that voted for Obama. This time around, I'm not sure that there's going to be that same willingness. You know, people to go to Biden, people to say, well, we got to do what we got to do. We're just gonna, roll up our sleeves and we're gonna vote for Biden. I'm not sure it's going to be to the same degree. Like I said, I think Biden, there's a good argument to make that he's the worst candidate and he offends more people than even Hillary Clinton does. So I'm not sure we're going to see the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know that I would have made my strategy attacking the policy if I was him. That's a really bad way to get voters. But that was about it for tonight, you guys. Thanks for letting me call. You have a good night.
All right, man. Good hearing from you, Fresh. All right. Let's see, is there anybody else? No, nobody else on the queue right now. Let's see if there's any.
Fez was talking about, looking out for certain things going on during this pandemic and watching out for certain things going on, like escalation of war, which is reasonable. But have any of y'all heard about this Earn It Act stuff? Anybody in the chat? Have any of y'all read anything about this Earn It Act? I haven't read a lot about it. About the government scanning. It's about encryption. It's about the government scanning every message sent back and forth between everyone. Yeah. Supposedly it's meant to supposedly it's put forth. It was put forth as some sort of protect, like they're trying to protect children or some shit. That's how it was kind of being sold as, to try to protect children. But apparently it want every message sent back and forth between people to be scanned or some shit. So it's about message encryption. Does anybody in the chat heard about that? The Earn It Act or the Earn It Bill? Supposedly it's I just heard about it like today.
So it looks like one of the top stories in the news right now is still this plan by this Trump administration to lay the work for opening back up the economy in May. So it seems as though they are serious about this, but again, it would be highly ridiculous. It would be so dangerous. I can say that I doubt it'll actually move forward the way that is being suggested, but you never know with this administration. I just wonder, and I do wonder what some of the leaders that are on this coronavirus task force, I wonder what they would say about it. There's been several times where Dr. Anthony Fauci has disagreed and actually offered an opposite viewpoint than what Donald Trump or what Michael Pence has stated. So I just wonder how they would respond to news like this. Even though the projection is being lowered in terms of total overall debts that's expected in this country, that's still not good reason to try to lay some groundwork to do anything to open up the country, open up the economy right now. It's still way too premature. This is only to sell the idea that America is responding well and that we are doing well enough to actually get people out around each other. But that's going to make the situation worse. So, again, we'll just see what happens. Let me read some super chats here. Now, we can't do the super chats for the last show. I think there were some super chats, not last show, but actually the last stream, really. The stream that got cut off. Again, apologize for that. But we have Tanya A. Regarding the CNN segment, the corporate Muppet show is all they are. Actors, not journalists, not even reporters. Yeah, I've said before, when it comes to the analysis on these corporate outlets, when these corporate news outlets, that's where it gets really troublesome. It's not when they report the news, whether it's been a shooting, whether it's been some announcement by the Trump administration, whether it's the stock market crashing, or there's a big hike or whatever. When there's breaking news, you need the corporate media outlets because we don't have that access. Nobody else has that access. So they're good for that, no doubt. But when it comes to the analysis, you always see what they are. And even if John King wasn't being nefarious in his approach, even if it was a good faith mistake, there were 3 other people on that segment, and not one of them corrected his misstatement. Not one. So what's the chances that all 4 did not hear Bernie say that Biden is a decent man and that he's going to work with him? What's the chances that actually happened?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at this point. I don't really know how much weight, a statement like that has, even coming from Bernie. I mean, we know who they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I'm disappointed, but I mean, I'm not gonna feel bad for not voting for a corporate puppet. I mean,
yeah.
what? Like, it's not even about, being like bitter or something like that. Obviously, this is not somebody I can support based on what I know they'll bring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether there's somebody worse or not, and whether there's a greater evil, that's irrelevant to me. And the reason why it's irrelevant, because I don't think it's a good model to work from. The harm reduction model. Because I think when you choose somebody like Biden, even though Bernie's available, someone who would clearly reduce harm more, you're just like, okay, you're just saying, okay, we'll reduce harm a little bit, but like this, it's like incremental harm reduction. But the everyday harm that I guess accumulates, like, increases much more than it's reduced.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it increases at a higher level than you're reducing it. So you're constantly saying harm reduction, harm reduction, harm reduction, when it's really you're just reducing it just a little bit. But
they don't actually care about harm reduction until it gets to be
the system
match up against a Republican.
Yeah, but and the system like creates these conditions that supersede this supposed reduction that we'll get if Biden wins. So it's like we always end up in the worst place because we decided to supposedly reduce harm by just a little bit.
But if they were actually interested in reducing harm, they would be interested in that at every step of the process. At every step of the process, they would be talking about harm reduction.
Not just in the general. You'd be talking about that all the time.
So if you can say harm reduction, Biden versus Trump. If you can say that, how come you can't say
Biden versus
harm reduction, Biden versus Bernie?
Yeah.
How come you can't say that? All right. Final Fantasy Draft has some jokes. Will is an Obama Robin Democrat.
Obama Robin. Oh, yeah. The little tongue twister, man.
Little tongue twister, man. Hopefully it's going. Obama, Biden. Obama, Biden.
Obama, Biden.
Hopefully it's gone, man. All right. Artificial Morphous Man also heard that morning of Super Tuesday, Bernie was 25 points ahead, but then only won by 6 points. I mean,
you know what people are going to say. All I'm saying, you got to construct the argument that people will respond with if you are going to introduce a, I guess, exit poll discrepancy, and you know what people are going to say. Obviously, things changed. Obviously, things changed on Monday.
They do.
You see what I'm saying? So you're not going to get the same results based on, the
earlier polling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there were people that dropped out. So, I mean, look, when we talked about endorsements, I tell you, I was wrong. I was wrong on endorsements. And it was just based on really what my thinking was. My thinking is that for me, an endorsement isn't going to do shit for me. An endorsement doesn't do anything for me whatsoever. It may get me to look at somebody else, really, because of my support for Bernie Sanders and the endorsement that he has gotten, I have seen people that I have not known, and then I will look into them and be like, oh, that's okay, yeah, I like this guy, or I like this woman, stuff like that. But never has an endorsement informed me on what I'm going to do. Never has that been the case. But obviously, that's not how all people think. And a lot of people think that, a lot of people, an endorsement weighs heavily on their voting activities, like what they're going to do. Jim Clyburn, did that hold a lot of weight? It sure seemed to. Buttigieg dropping out and endorsing Biden. Klobuchar dropping out, endorsing Biden. Beto coming out of the blue, out of obscurity, really. I mean, he was nowhere to be heard from for several months.
I was that girl. It
obviously had an effect.
It's, again, if you're just, if you're just talking about disagreements here and there, little nitpicky things here and there about a particular candidate, through the primary process, you're running against that person. An endorsement of that candidate later on, whatever. It comes off as natural. You're always going to have disagreements about how to get stuff done. But when you run a campaign that kind of casts this person as illegitimate and says their type of politics won't work anymore in this country. We don't need that anymore. That's the old guard. We need to move forward. Things that Buttigieg said and Beto O'Rourke said. Beto O'Rourke and Pete Buttigieg said as much. Mm-hmm. We can't move forward with old style politics, and Biden represents that. I can't remember the exact words.
Yeah, but that was the message.
That was the message.
Yeah. We need a new approach.
We need a new approach. So you're questioning their entire existence. And so, if you come out and endorse that person later and it's the complete opposite, it just looks weird.
Yeah, it comes across as empty. It comes across that you were not being truthful.
So you were not being truthful before, or you're not being truthful now. It doesn't matter which side you put it on. So you were either not being truthful when you were running against that person during the primaries, and those were just all political talking points. Mm-hmm. Or now this is a political talking point. So you got...
Either way, you're dishonest. You were dishonest somewhere. And so why would we believe anything that you have to say? You're playing games. You're playing games. Tanya A. again. Also, please watch System Update with Glenn. Also watch System Update with Glenn Greenwald, Edward Snowden, Andre Domis, and Cassie King, The Intercept on things being done to freedoms. Again, man, we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go, and it is just absolutely frustrating that it always comes down to people. It just always comes down to people, because that's where the problem lies at. We have a representative democracy, right? We We elect these politicians to be our voices. And even if they don't represent us, we still got their backs. They still get our votes. There's good reason not to even trust the process that we use to vote for these people. But there's not enough of a push to try to reform that process. Other countries have a much higher voter turnout. Other countries actually have more transparency when it comes to their elections. We don't look to those countries and say, well, that's better. I think we should do that. Other countries have Medicare for all, or a type system like that. It may not be called Medicare for all, but it's a system like that where they provide health care for all of their citizens. We don't look to that and say that's a really good model. I think we should do that for all of our people as well. This is supposedly the greatest country in the world, and how is it the greatest country in the world, yet we don't lead the way in actually protecting our people and alleviating the harm? Yeah, this was this was what, June 2019, Beto O'Rourke talking about Biden. We cannot return to the past.
So I guess we can return to the past.
And like you said, Julian Castro said similar things, I believe.
Buttigieg said almost the same thing.
Very similar things. But now here they are.
You cannot go back. You cannot go back to the end of the Obama administration and think that that's good enough. As much of a horror show as Trump has been, his racism, the disaster of his foreign policy, his punishment of farmers and workers here in this country, we had real problems before Donald Trump became president. That sounds exactly like what a lot of leftists have been saying, right? But as soon as somebody on the actual left says that, what are we accused of? Trying to help Trump get elected. We don't want to put any criticism toward the presumptive nominee. We cannot return to the past. We cannot simply be about defeating Donald Trump.
So that's exactly what we say. That's exactly what we say. Can't just be about beating Donald Trump. It's got to be more than that.
Don't we say this every day? Don't leftists say that shit every day? Don't progressives say that shit every day?
Well, that's a woke statement, ain't it? Damn. But where's he at now? Where's he at now?
See how people say, some very real shit and they get kudos for it because they're a certain type of politician?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But when
because he was a new face. He's a new, yeah, exactly. Now
he's not going to be about that energy. So something like that would lead you to believe that, if you didn't tie a name or face to a statement like that, words like that, you would assume a person like this is probably riding with Bernie.
We cannot go back to Obama. We can't. We have to be better than just defeat Trump. Again, this is what Bernie Sanders supporters and leftists / progressives get bashed over the head for saying. Every day. So again, you're now you're questioning not Barack Obama, but Barack Biden. You're questioning. In this case, it would be Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Because that's what Beto was referring to, Obama administration. We can't just simply think that's good enough. So when we talk about, criticizing Biden for just wanting to go back to the ACA and strengthening that, I think that kind of sentiment would apply to that healthcare policy as well. Why can't we do better?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't that apply to that healthcare policy as well?
It would apply to everything.
It would apply to everything. We can't just go back to that. And so, again, it would have to apply to that. So when Bernie Sanders supporters just demand more and demand that everybody be covered and nobody be left behind, we're being divisive and we're hurting a centrist candidate. I'm like, policy is policy. If the policy is not adequate, then it is what it is. If a politician makes it to the general and he's not seen as adequate, or his policies aren't seen as adequate, it's not it's not the fault of the individuals that ran against him in the primary, which is kind of weird considering Bernie Sanders wasn't the only primary opponent of Biden, but it seems as if Bernie was the one who couldn't ever say anything about Biden, even when Julian Castro, highlighted how Biden contradicted himself in such a short time period. He got he got shamed for it, like, oh, you were, shaming him as an old man. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like he was characterized in the same way as Bernie is characterized, like, oh, like he's toxic.
It was just a moment, really, that he was criticized.
He was criticized. It wasn't like they kind of painted his whole existence and his supporters' existence with a broad brush.
No.
It's like they're making it like somehow, like, why was it only Bernie who, couldn't criticize Biden in a very substantive way? When Warren did it, when she criticized anybody, she was seen as very strong.
Yeah, very
Kamala
strong.
Harris.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris went at Biden way before Bernie did.
Yeah.
Because remember, she was that girl.
She was. And the corporate media was there for that. Gave her kudos for that. But again, when Bernie Sanders, there's no surprise here. Like, Bernie Sanders is actually the one actually representing people. There's a gap between what there's no gap. Actually, they're on he's on a completely different side than all the rest. The main goal for all the rest is not people. It's not to actually represent them. It's not to make their lives better. It's not to alleviate the hurt and the pain and the boot off of the neck. It's not meant to do that. All they're meant to do is try to make things a little bit better. Make you feel like you have a chance. That's it. Just make you feel like hope is possible. Like it's possible for you to even have hope. Bernie Sanders is trying to do something else. So they have to demonize him. It'll happen every time a progressive actually stands a chance of winning. It'll happen every single time. I think, Artificial Morphism is it? Yeah, no. It was Final Fantasy Draft. How would the DNC attack Nina Turner if she ran in 2024? It would be very similar to what we see from, them right now in attacking Bernie Sanders. She is a progressive. She's an even strong. Well, in her delivery, she is a stronger progressive. She is more aggressive. She don't play.
She's like, I said what I said type of progressive. Like, and you can come at me if you want, and you can see this in her media appearances. I mean, like, as soon as the camera come on, she's like, okay, bring it. You can just see with how she sits. She's like, she kind of, she's a gangster because she sits with that lean. She sits with the lean and she got her head to the side. And he's like, okay, you ready to mess with me? And so she's very serious.
They would have
I like that.
They would have to adjust things a little bit because they couldn't do the Bernie Bro thing. They couldn't do the Bernie Bro thing. They can do some kind of, I guess it would be some type of that. They would have to be very careful the way they did it, though.
Nah,
very careful.
Man, they would be in a bind.
It would be woman and black. you they'd have to be very careful.
Like and again, it's not just like, her appearance and her delivery and her attitude, but it's her politics. Mm-hmm. That's what scares them more.
Oh, of course.
Because if she was somebody just like, I don't know, like Kamala Harris, they'd be all for her.
Of course. But she's actually a progressive. She actually wants to do for people. So, no doubt they would attack her. It would just be in a different way. It would have to be in a different. You couldn't go after her like you went after Bernie Sanders. You couldn't make her support like, oh, her support is so toxic. That's not gonna come off right. Bernie, well, what would it be?
But see, now what they would do is, here's what they probably would do. They would probably try to pass that off, but do it because she's connected to Bernie. Yeah. They would probably say,
It's the same old
it's
white
the same,
Bernie bros.
Yeah, they're just backing Nina because they're just holdovers from Bernie.
Yeah.
That's probably how they do it. They'd probably be able to do that.
Maybe.
They'd probably be able to do that. They'd probably
It'd
be
be a
able
stretch. But
Yep, we've seen them do some.
Yeah,
We've seen them do some.
they've done some
some yoga like stretching.
They have
So
done that.
I wouldn't put it past them. They would probably try to.
It would be more
connect-
difficult
because
though.
she's connected to Bernie.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Like you said, they would be put.
That's
in
a
the
good
bind.
ass. That's a good ass question.
Yeah, it is. They would be again, given that she is a woman, she's black, and she is more aggressive than Bernie Sanders.
She'll not Shirley Chisholm type stuff.
It would be difficult. They would be in a bind. I'd be there for that though. Another one from Final Fantasy Draft. Bernie was between Barack and a hard place.
Ha ha. But
Muscal, I think Biden VP will be Stacey Abrams.
A lot of people were saying that.
A
A lot of people think it's going to be her or Kamala. I probably think it's, I don't know. I mean,
I think Kamala. Or Kamala, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Kamala.
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
California,
her spot would
CeeLo, California. Maybe, but she didn't do well in California.
Well, giving up her Senate seat, it's not that big of a risk. I believe it would still go blue.
Yeah.
So it's not like that big of a gamble.
But I think if they just want to be safe, it would probably be Stacey Abrams, especially since, she got that Bloomberg money now. Well, she had that Bloomberg money. I don't know, man. Like, I know people.
I don't know. He said it's going to be a woman, and I think those are probably the two. What if it's Amy Klobuchar?
Oh, we're going to have to hear that stupid ass story over and over again. And I said.
Yo, if it's Amy Klobuchar, forget energy, because it's not going to be there. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Why would you? No. See, no. That's the thing. Like, we already know that's the issue. The issue is it's already out there.
Yeah, it is.
So, like, he is going to have to choose somebody who is
like a hype man.
I was about to say. He's going to have to choose a hype man that has a lot of political ad libs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
somebody that can inspire some type of.
I just don't think his campaign would make that mistake because Klobuchar is not. Like that's worse than Tim Kaine.
You think? I don't know, man.
Damn,
do you? That is wow, dog. I don't know why would you do that to me. What was worse, Tim Kaine or Klobuchar?
What was worse?
Damn.
Who was Al Gore's running mate?
Who was Al Gore's running mate?
Exactly.
No, it was Edwards, wasn't it?
Was it?
Or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Damn. Tim Kaine or Amy Klobuchar? Wow. Charles Aiden, guys, you need to go to this channel.
Joe Lieberman.
Joe Lieberman was the running mate?
That's what it says.
Are you serious?
Incumbent Vice President Al Gore won the nomination for President of the
Gore
United States. It shows
Lieberman.
Connecticut Senator Joe
Lieberman.
Lieberman.
Wow. Okay, I think he's worse. I think he's the worst. Yeah, I think he's worse. Yeah, he's worse than Tim Kaine, and he's worse than Amy Klobuchar. Hands down, too, I think.
You were thinking of John Kerry.
Yeah.
You were right, but you were thinking of John Kerry.
Yeah. Wow.
John Kerry admits John Edwards was a bad pick. Why? Because of his situation? Boo. He was actually a good pick.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
That was a good pick.
If it wasn't for that situation.
If
it wasn't for
Yo, man. And his
wife
had cancer too, dog? I mean, it's worse. It's still bad.
Yeah, it would have been
but
bad.
It just adds it just adds some extra mustard.
Yeah.
Onto it.
It's
you know
like
what
you
I'm
doing all this.
You're doing all that and
married.
And your wife got cancer.
And she got cancer?
Damn.
Oh, man. You really don't care.
Woo. Like, it doesn't matter how good your politics is.
Nah.
It's over after that. It's over after that. It's over. It doesn't matter how good your politics are.
Nah, and look, I don't judge other dudes, or actually not just dudes, females. I don't judge other people in their relationship. So whatever happens, that's on you. I don't know what happened. I don't know what got you there. I'm not going to judge you, but you in the public eye. You are in the public eye.
Like what's your dude's name? Because he was Mark Sanford. Where was he at? Like in Argentina? In the mountains or something?
Again, you in public. You are a public. You're supposed to be a public servant, right? Elected to office.
Oh, he's serving the public. He's serving the public. Not that he was doing it the wrong way though.
Man, yeah, you can't be doing stuff like that, man. Again, if you want to step out, okay. You better not be in public, though. You better not be in the public eye. You better not be a public figure.
Apparently, what's the name? Didn't she, what's her face? Speaking of public figures, shit was trending the other day. Actually, it was trending yesterday. Linda Tripp died.
Yeah, I did see that. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, and then, Monica, so she say, Monica tweeted about it.
Yeah.
And she was like, yo, this is a sad day.
Yeah, it was like condolences.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still, when I read that, I'm like, man, that was some busted up shit that Tripp did, man.
I don't care how Monica Lewinsky reflects upon it. That was some slimy shit.
That was slimy as hell. Slimy. My gosh. Every time I read, I'm like,
but
damn.
I will say, though, if you look at Monica and then look at Bill Clinton, Monica aged well compared to Bill.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, Bill's involved in a lot of activities. Maybe he's drained himself quite a bit. But
I mean, Monica's much younger, though, too.
But still, though, even if you just look at the progression, it's just, she aged much better than Bill.
She still doesn't. I mean, she didn't look bad then. She doesn't look bad now.
Yeah.
Charles Aiden, do you guys know Tim Black? I mean, personally, in one of his shows, he said it was in South Carolina before the primary. Yeah, we didn't see him while he was here, but yeah, we've met him. We've talked to him before.
We saw him in Philly. We met him. He actually, I think there might be he probably uploaded a video to his page in 2016 because he was live streaming during the convention.
Yeah, it was one of the speeches that was going on out there.
Yeah. We was at the municipal building or whatever.
Yeah.
I know Tim. I mean, he all right. I mean, I listen to him every now and then. You know what I'm saying? He good on most things. But yeah.
Moose Gal, Bernie Sanders better not endorse Biden.
Who?
Bernie Sanders better not endorse Biden.
I mean, he's going to campaign for him. I mean,
he's going to.
We already know this is the case. That's how he maintains his position as a independent/Democrat within the party. That's how he maintains
his leadership
position. So you know he's going to campaign for Biden. Like I said, like Bernie Sanders is not like he's just too nice. He's just too nice. He feels that he has to get up there and kind of play nice and talk nice about Joe Biden. He don't really have to do that.
No.
Bernie Sanders
about Hillary Clinton.
He did it with
too,
Hillary Clinton. So even Bernie Sanders plays politics, and that's kind of, that's a reflection of kind of the power vacuum that he exists in. It's almost.
That's why you need somebody like Nina Turner running for president, because I do not believe the same dynamics would exist. The niceties and all of that.
Oh hell no, no. She doesn't got time for that. That's why I think she would have made a good press secretary.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I doubt she would have been the
games.
Perfect choice. Everybody was talking about her as VP. I was like, nah.
Oh, no. You want her talking as much as she can, and talking about the agenda, proposals, answering questions. Oh yeah, you want her talking.
Yeah, because just talking about it will put other Democrats on blast. So, but yeah.
But no, Bernie Sanders is definitely going to endorse Biden. It's just he hasn't done it in so many words yet. And really, actually, given that this situation right here that we're in, him suspending his campaign was expected, I think this is the best news out of this happening, because we know, we were further along in the process when the primaries were over. We didn't get to the convention yet, but again, we were further along in the process when Bernie Sanders said that he's suspending his campaign and he's endorsing Hillary Clinton. It was further along in the process than we are now. But I think it's the right decision for Bernie Sanders to say that, he's going to be the nominee, but, I'm still going to be on the ballot. I'm still trying to get delegates. I want as strong of a position as I can to try to negotiate for what we want in the party platform. So I think it's a good thing that he didn't endorse him right now. I think it's a good thing. Now, he is going to. At some point, he definitely is going to. So, just go ahead and try to accept that right now.
Tom Steyer endorses Biden.
Oh, really?
3 hours
the quiet Tom Steyer, right? The Tom Steyer that was he
was befriending Bernie.
Yeah, and so supportive of everything except for Medicare for all. Everything else, he was like, "Yep, Bernie's right. Bernie is right.
Especially
Bernie's
on climate change."
Yep. And then he got out of the race, and you hear nothing from him until now.
Crickets.
Until now.
Crickets.
So you didn't show up for Bernie either, huh? But you were progressive. Oh yes, you're a progressive. Sure you are. Sure you are. Scabooty is dressed. Will is the one dressed as Santa's helper. What's the name of the petty one? Looks like Muse in blue shirt.
Petty. Maybe you meant pretty.
Pretty? Who was Muse in blue shirt? Who was Muse? What?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. Scabooty. I like that name though. That's funny.
No,
I like that. Funny. I like the username. That's tight.
I do kind of look like Santa's helper.
Yo, because it's like the hat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It could be like a stocking or something.
It's like a little stocking or something. That's funny, yo.
That is funny.
That's funny.
Bernie won't Mr. Dead in my pocket said Bernie won't outright endorse until the convention or whatever takes place or whatever takes its place. He hasn't dropped. He's suspended, which means he's not spending on ads or campaigning. It's not splitting hairs.
I got you.
Yeah.
What is that? Charlie Hayden?
Aiden.
Do you think if there's breaks in the wrong place, but do you think if Bernie ran ads in South Carolina before the primary, like on every local channel, every hour for a week, exposing Biden's lies, especially about how he participated in the civil rights movement, would it change the result? Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, ultimately no.
Ultimately though. Maybe a little bit. Because when it came to like what people said in the polling, what the polling revealed was that Bernie Sanders' policies was popular, but people were scared because of Trump, and they thought that Bernie Sanders would kind of turn people off, and people would be turned off by how he labels himself. So they liked his policies, but they wanted to be the safe. They wanted the safe choice because they were scared of Trump. So it's more about Trump than it is about Biden and Bernie Sanders, it seems like.
You can talk to your blue in the face about what is negative about Joe Biden, and people will not bat an eye. They won't wince. They won't do anything. They'll be like, well, we got to defeat Trump. He's the strongest candidate to do so.
Yo, funny enough though, because there was this tweet about Biden supporters not being able to articulate like why they support this dude, and like literally before I came across this tweet, I saw an exchange between a couple of people, and I was like, this shit is just revealing. And there's a Twitter user who said, to those who celebrate, happy Bernard Sanders dropping out day. And then somebody responded and just said, hey, what's your favorite Joe Biden policy?
And literally that's it. I mean, he's not paraphrasing.
No. And then another user, not the woman who initially commented, someone else chimed in after he asked that question, and she asked, what is the motivation behind this question? I was like, you just told on
So
yourself.
you have to know the motivation before you know how to respond.
Because you can't respond.
Because if the motivation is I'm not in agreement with what Joe Biden is, I'm anti-Joe Biden, then the response is probably going to be, I'm not answering the question.
What do you mean? What's the motivation? Doesn't matter. Just tell me why. Why can't you tell me like what your favorite policy is, a policy you like? Because you don't have one. You're just a team player. I see Lorenzo in the chat. What's up, man? I don't think I've ever seen Lorenzo comment in the chat, man. Lorenzo Demery. Yeah, we interact on Facebook a lot, but yeah, he cool. I like Lorenzo, man.
No one ever has a real answer for that because he has no good policies. I'm sure, you know. Oh, you know what? You know what? And I don't have it clipped, or I don't have that video. There was that short little video where Joe Biden supporters were trying to say 23 good things about him.
Oh yeah, they look like they were being held hostage.
Oh man, and they were saying the most like general types of things about Joe Biden. You could see some of them were struggling to come up with something. Oh, he's a good man. He's a decent man. Like I think the subject was like how he would be good for the country or something like that, or maybe even policy wise. I don't know exactly what the question that prompted them was, but their responses were so
it
horrible.
reminded me of when you try to get little kids to do like little exercises.
Yeah,
it's like
unwillingly.
Yeah, unwillingly. Like you got to push and be like, okay, kid, I need you to say 10 good things about Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? Get up and say, and
write a letter about your teacher.
Write a letter about your teacher or some shit.
Oh man, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. They were, you could tell some of them were just like, I don't know.
Why are we here? They look like they were being held hostage. I was like, oh man. But yeah, I will say this is. I thought I was.
Yeah, I think one of them did. Kayla Stein said, one of those people said, because he's Joe Biden. Wow. Oh, that's bad. That is really bad, man.
I'm telling you, man, I thought 2016 had me in shambles. I thought 2016 had me, twisted up.
It just gets worse.
Yo, man.
It gets more and more ridiculous.
I was actually like looking forward to watching the debates between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I was actually looking forward to it. I was just wondering like how he was going to be. It was interesting. Like I knew who he was. Mm-hmm. I knew who she was. But I wanted to see how they interacted, how he hit her. I wanted to see how she hit back, and she didn't really do a good job. And I understand why. I don't think that's a matter of her being unprepared. It's just that he never held a government position. He doesn't have a record to criticize. Or you would have to criticize his business model and his business decisions.
I don't think she took him that seriously either.
And, you don't take the Pied Pipers that seriously.
Exactly.
And they're friends. That's another thing that pissed me off. Like, if you're talking about what candidate can be connected to Trump the most, or just what group of individuals could be connected to Trump, and try to characterize them based on their proximity to Trump, it will be fucking Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Mm-hmm. Their daughters are friends. Their daughters hang out together. They went to Trump's wedding. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, but no, Bernie he's like Trump. He's like, I still see that shit online. He's like Trump. He's just like Trump. I was like, he don't hang out with the Joker.
He don't take pictures with.
He don't take pictures with the Joker.
Smiling.
I'm like, that's your girl Hillary.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't accept
campaign
donations.
Oh, and they don't trust Bernie because he took a honeymoon to a sister city.
Yes.
In Russia, like, and that's all you have. And he praised some public transportation, and that somehow means he's allegiant to Putin and Russia. That's all it took for you to make that assertion. Mm-hmm. But yet Bill Clinton accepting $500,000 for a speech in Moscow via a Russian investment bank. Bill Clinton. That's not suspicious at all.
That's nothing.
He's not a Putin puppet. I guarantee you, if that was Bernie. But see, Bill Clinton's connected to Hillary Clinton now, so it's all good. That's okay. She's not a Russian asset. She's not a Russian asset. That doesn't make them Russian assets. $500,000 doesn't make them Russian assets, but Bernie Sanders taking a honeymoon 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Ben out front in the super chat asked, what are the big differences between Trump and Biden? And he says abortion. See, like the differences that we can point to, yeah, there's differences with abortion. Yeah, okay, so I mean, Biden has said very questionable things about abortion before. He has said before that he doesn't think it's totally a woman's choice. We know his consistent feelings on the Hyde Amendment. I don't care what he has said recently. That's political expediency if I've never seen it. But on different things, really, it's like there would be a difference, but I guess it's kind of like mitigating how much of a difference there is, or kind of like trying to draw comparison and contrast.
Is there a big of enough difference to be excited about Biden? That's the question. Is there a big enough difference? Like you're gonna be splitting hairs. Like you're trying to project what kind of impact he's going to have, and you cannot do that, especially when you're looking at somebody like Biden, who, even the whole Iraq situation, it was worse than just him advocating for that war and him still not wanting to accept that it was a bad decision, because he still doesn't. So people were talking about, well, like I keep hearing Biden supporters say, well, people change. Oh yeah, people do change, but that doesn't apply to Biden right now. Something else about Iraq that I read about Biden, he wanted to like segregate the religious sects. He wanted to separate, like when they were, trying to determine like where people were gonna go, they had to like kind of reconfigure the like make these new territories or whatever. He wanted to divide it by like ethnic, religious ethnicity or some shit, like Sunnis over here, Shias over here, and shit, like 3 different ones. So he was like, oh, that's that segregation coming out. That's what he wanted to do.
Biden is troublesome. Again, if you're dealing with comparisons between the two, like I said, it's going to be more about like the small differences. On the economy, I mean, you could say that maybe Joe Biden would be better. Would he implement something like the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act? Probably not. I'm sure he would still want to cut taxes for the rich. I'm sure he would still want to do that. I'm sure he would still want to cut the corporate tax rate. So it would be like he's bad, but maybe just not as bad as Donald Trump. Yeah. When it comes to the minimum wage, we know that he loves working with Republicans. So even if he has advocated before for a $15 minimum wage, because I believe he did that in New York, even if that's true, will he actually like put his all behind it when it actually comes down to trying to negotiate that with Republicans in Congress? Or will he just come to the table with, okay, well, I know we can't get all that 15. Maybe I come to the table with 12, we leave with 9. It's like, he's just not far enough. He's just not far enough. He just won't promote progress enough. There's not enough differences, like you said, to be energetic about what Joe Biden is and what a potential administration would look like.
And I keep seeing all these different arguments. What about the Supreme Court? What about kids in cages? I'm like, when did them cages get built? Yeah. I'm like, yes, again, like, what are the policy differences that made, Trump's immigration different from Obama's? There are a little bit of differences, but are the differences enough?
That's significant.
Again, when was ICE created?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Was ICE during George W. Bush? That might have been George W. Bush.
Was it?
It might have been. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm thinking about Homeland Security, actually. I don't know. I don't know when ICE was created.
But yeah, like there's this idea that somehow all the things that, they're listing that they want to fix, I'm like, were they great under Obama? Like they think that a Biden presidency would fix. It was under Bush. ICE created in 2003.
I thought so, yeah.
But they sure did ramp that shit up, though.
Oh, hell yeah. Deportation, drone strikes, conflicts overseas. How many wars were we in at a time? Like, what, 6, 7 different conflicts? Libya, I mean, Biden, in rhetoric, there will be much differences. There will be many differences between Biden and Donald Trump in terms of rhetoric, in terms of Twitter use, in terms of interviewing. Oh yeah, there'll be all kinds of differences.
Liberals can go back to not caring about that shit. That's what they want. That's what they want Biden there for. It's like with Trump, it's almost like now they're kind of forced to care about that shit that they didn't care about during Obama. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and if they are put in a position where they have to care about something, they will create excuses not to, like the rape allegations. Where the pussy hats at? Where the pussy hats at? Where the pussy hats? Where the pussy hats? Where the pussy hats? Yeah. I just want to say, P word over and over again. But where them hats at? I want them to break them hats out. But I haven't seen them break their hats out. No Me Too pussy hats? Where them hats at?
Well,
Well, pussy flap hats.
There's
labia flaps.
There's an
labia flap hats.
There's an if. See, it wasn't just believe women. It was believe women if.
Them hats with the brim.
Or believe women only if. Or believe women but.
Blue no matter who rapes?
Yeah, I mean, okay. There was something else that we didn't see. It must have been in the fine print or something like that.
And this is not the only accusation either. That wasn't the only accusation. That's the thing. It's not like Tara Reid's was the only accusation.
It's the most salacious.
The most salacious. I mean, it's like there's like 7 other ones. I mean, Bernie Sanders, they could have had a candidate that didn't have that hanging over his head.
None of that.
Didn't have none of that.
Not at all.
No. They had to choose Grandpa Grope and Sniff. I saw an Onion art. I saw an Onion. No, it wasn't an Onion article. It was an article from the Babylon Bee. That shit was funny, but it was one of those funny things that is like, oh snap, that shit got some truth to it. It says the headline reads, Biden cuts hole in mask so he can sniff people's hair. So it shows him wearing one of those little, I guess, masks to protect from spreading the coronavirus. So that's the headline. I was like, see, how you gonna take this dude into the general? I mean, Trump might have more ammo than he had against Hillary Clinton. Because if you're looking at Hillary Clinton, yeah, we could point out some of her lies and some of her, double talk, like her public and private statements, she says. And then the whole I went to NASDAQ. You love to highlight that shit. I went to NASDAQ. He loves to highlight that shit. Or he hates to.
She said I went to Wall Street.
I went to Wall Street. Yeah. She said I went to Wall Street.
Yeah, but she went to the wrong.
I'm like, you don't. I was like, no.
I'm like, you picked the wrong group.
I was like, she said something about it. I told them. She said, what was
cut
that?
It out?
Yeah, she said, I told them, cut it out. Like, when talking about, how they nefariously speculate on shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like, I told them to cut it out. I was like, really?
That shit was
that almost sounded like what Biden did recently, talking about, I guess the economic relief plan that Congress is trying to iron out, and Biden came out saying something like, these corporations have to promise that they won't, I guess, engage in X, Y, and Z. He mentioned like stock buybacks. They have to do this. They need to promise. I was like,
what is a promise?
What is a promise? Like, even when, first of all, even when they do promise, and even when there is laws, they still just...
Of course, they do what they want to do.
Like Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, they violate laws all the time, and what do? They just have to pay a fine. It's a drop in the bucket.
Nobody goes to jail.
So, like, what is a promise going to do if laws can't do it? So, He was like, I was like, well, you might as well just give him the pinky swear.
Exactly. What you should rather do in its place is actually put forth some regulations so that they actually can't do it. And if they do it, there actually are some penalties. And when I mean criminal penalties.
But why would you do that to your friends, though?
And why would you do that to
Why would you do that to your friends, though?
Why would you do that? Because you trust them.
You don't even, you know what? You won't even pump fake like that. If billionaires are your friends, you won't even pump fake like that. I mean, you can do it for some woke points. Oh, look what Biden said. He's going to hold these people accountable.
Artificial Morphous Man, please research TDMS research and Greg Palast regarding the exit polls and voting machines. You and your audience needs to know. Yeah, like I said, I mean, Mike was talking about those the exit polling, how it didn't line up, and that wasn't just in this election as well. I mean, I think that goes back to 2016.
Somebody need to
Again, it has to be done on a wide scale. So not only, one way that the public learns this knowledge is through the media. And when I say the media, it's not independent media. It has to be corporate media. At this point in time, corporate media has all the advantages of having the trust of the people, having, I guess, ease of access as well. It's right on cable news. They can pump information through headlines and notifications to people's phones and tablets, watches. I mean, they have everything working for them right now. Where we are in terms of media, they have everything working for them. So if we need to educate the populace about what's going on with our elections and how these exit polls do not make sense when you compare them to the actual vote outcome, the media has to disperse that information, and the media is not going to do that. I mean, you have a lot of people that listen to independent media that, of course, are aware of things that most people are not aware of. I'm glad for it. I'm glad that those numbers are growing. But, man, we have not even reached anywhere near where we need to get. We're nowhere near where we need to get. And I really do hope that independent media keeps growing. I would love this channel to keep growing as well. I would love for us to have more and more viewers. It's just like I said, it's going to take a while for all of this to actually culminate into reality, where we can actually limit some of that dependence on corporate media. It's just, man, it's just the monster system that we have right now. And it is a monster. It is a monster.
Because it's injected with corporate money. Anything injected with corporate money is going to be able to survive, regardless. It's like it's a behemoth that is, dependent on corporate money to stay afloat. That's why they call it the corporate media.
Right.
Because that's who elevates them.
All right, Artificial Morphous Man again, but the cable news generation is dying off. Soon independent media will be more popular, provided we still have the web.
Yeah, that's why they're trying to take up more space on social media.
Exactly.
Because they weren't there before, and then they started. That's where people were going.
That's right.
Because people wanted more control over what they watched. Like, I mean, you can have control over what you watch if you have like DVR and stuff, but I don't think it's the same. I think people wanted to it's more freeing when you can just go on Twitter or YouTube or Vimeo or any kind of social media platform and just consume media and on your own time in your own way. And so that's why the bigger networks started
developing their own
channels,
social media
platforms. So they know the deal. But
they're not just gonna let it
no.
let themselves be overtaken by independent media.
Hell no, they gotta kind of crash that market.
Yeah, and they have, and they've done a successful job at doing it. So, yeah, like I said, in terms of independent media, we know that corporate media outlets are there as well. It's still growing. In terms of people that are not connected to corporate media, there's still a growing emphasis on some of these channels. So that's positive news. But again, the corporate media is there, and they're getting more and more followers as well. like I said, it's going to be quite some time before we can actually reform media in general.
That there's no reforming. You just form your own.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm talking about just what media is.
Oh, what media is.
Not corporate media. I'm just talking about just the general aspect of what media is. That does need to be reformed. And boy, it's gonna take it's gonna take a long time to change that.
And again, it's like I think that's just, I guess the people that host and run run the platform, start up, independent media platforms. I think that's just one half of it. I do think that like there has to be something drawing each individual to a different platform, a different type of platform. You know what I'm saying? As far as how they develop their social awareness, that has to be up to each individual, each person. I mean, that definitely occurred with me. I mean, at some point in my life, I was like, man, like something's missing. Like this is just something is like just missing. I need more. So you start reading, you start watching stuff that's different, and then maybe after a while, that's whatever you're watching and whatever you're reading, that itself was a stepping stone, and then you move on to something else. There's like a lot of, authors, a lot of people who offer political commentary, social commentary, people that I pay attention to maybe like 20 years ago that I don't now, because I was just a stepping stone. So I guess it just kind of like, it went like that. That's just me personally. I know there's a lot of people who are like that. I just can't stay on the same thing for a long time. I need to constantly, like just intake more information or better information. Not necessarily more, but information that's not like repetitive. You know what I'm saying? I just can't stay in one place. It just gets boring. Like I went through like my old YouTube. Well, it's not old, but I went through my subscriptions. Man, I had to delete like 100 of them because I was like, man, I don't listen to these jokers.
Yeah, I've done that.
Like, I don't listen to these jokers anymore. I was like, I respect what they had to say at the time, but I moved on because a lot of them were talking about the same shit. I'm like, I'll move on from this shit.
Another comment, Artificial Morphous Man, but most younger voters don't watch CNN. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if there's something that can deliver some analysis on that, but I think everybody watches CNN.
Yeah,
I think it doesn't matter what age you are. Now, what do you think about CNN? That's a different topic. But do they watch CNN? Oh, I think everybody, no matter what age they are, if they're 18, 20, 65, whatever in between, I think everybody is watching corporate news.
There's a higher concentration of old people, but young people do watch it. There's a higher concentration, we don't want to, let that go without saying, of older people watching corporate media.
It's more about what you're getting from it.
And that would make more sense because the older you get, most likely you're not even going out as much. You're usually just more stationary in the house, looking for things to watch. Younger people are more active.
Yeah. And look, I know a lot of, given that we know that most younger voters were behind Bernie Sanders' campaign, and that's just not in 2020, but that's 2016 as well. They have a better ability to call bullshit on stuff. They have a better ability to do that more so than your older voters, more so than people that are 45 and older, 50 and older, 65, something like that. So that's good, given that we know that they still intake corporate media. They still intake it, but they're able to weigh this, weigh that, and still say, well, that's bullshit. I know that they're probably listening to independent media sources as well, and that's good. But I mean, we have to acknowledge that corporate media is in virtually every single household. It's probably in virtually every single household.
You know what? Maybe because, like, when you're talking about corporate media, like, automatically people think of, like, corporate news media. When most media is corporate, even entertainment stuff. Like, if you're watching reality TV, that's corporate news. That's corporate media. I guess when we're talking about corporate media, everybody goes to, like, the political news. We're talking about just political news, when I don't think you can look at it like that. I think you have to look at it all as corporate media. You have to look at it all as corporate media. It's like, because there's different arms of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Some not as harmful as
So, yeah, some
others.
not as harmful, but some are just there to be distracting. It's still corporate media, though.
Charity says 45 and I don't watch corporate media. No time. Have to work. I like my indie channels. Proud Patreon member of LTMB. One love.
Word,
one love.
word, word.
One love. Appreciate that, Charity.
Shout out.
But that is another thing too. Like I was saying, I've said this many times before. Many people do not have time to really like dive into the information like, you know, maybe some other people do because of their work, because of their kids, just based on their schedule. They just don't have the time to do it. But that's where corporate media comes in very, very, very handy, because you can send these notifications at people if they're subscribed to your apps. They can, if you're subscribed in terms of like an email mailing list, they can send you these article headlines. They can send you highlights of what's going on. I'm subscribed to I don't know how many different, how many different corporate media websites, and every day the day starts with an email from every single one of these websites, and they will give you kind of like a broad overview of maybe what happened, you know, the previous day or last night. And it'll be right there in the headlines. And then when you click on it, there will be just a short description of things that have happened. And you can click on that one if you want. You can click on this one if you want. If you want more information, click on that one. But if you don't, at least you have a snapshot of some things that are going on. So it definitely depends on the way they are kind of phrasing it, and feeding it to you. And that kind of, I guess that kind of shapes what your mindset is going to be based on these issues. So, like I said, they do a fantastic job. They do a fantastic job at promoting the exact mindset that they want in this country.
That's a good question, Ron Churchman. Everybody is not everybody. There's a large segment of people that are speculating that the DNC will try to replace Biden because I don't think they think he's gonna make it to November. So there's a lot of speculation that they will choose somebody to replace Biden. Hillary would make a, you know.
I keep hearing Andrew Cuomo.
And he's not. It's mainly because of how the media is framing his handling of coronavirus, which is actually not good. Mm-hmm. Gavin Newsom is handling it much better than he is, but he's not getting the same attention as Cuomo. But yeah, Cuomo is trying to cut Medicaid in the middle of all this. He's the one who was dragging his feet as far as what the prisoners are going through,
right?
And what, I guess trying to remedy their situation. He's dragging his feet on that. So they're looking for a damn hero, and sometimes they're they're looking for a hero. I wonder why.
Not promote. They're creating a hero.
They're trying to create a hero, but I wonder why.
Why would they be doing that right now?
Why would they be doing that right now? Shouldn't the presumptive nominee, the Democratic nominee, be out here promoting himself and doing his thing, being out in the media, showing that he has the chops, right? I mean, that's where it is. That should tell you right there that Biden is not asserting himself. You know what I'm saying? That should tell you right there. They would not need to be searching. They would not need to be, trying to anoint somebody else as some sort of leader if Biden was doing his thing. But yeah, it's not. They're just trying too hard, man.
If Biden is actually supplanted by anybody, it's definitely not going to happen until after the convention or after whatever the convention is going to be, because, boy, if they try to do it before, man. If they try to do it before, there's going to be talk about Bernie. I mean, there's definitely going to be talk about Bernie. Oh yeah. I mean, if you thought you saw whatever Bernie Bros was before,
it's going to be like
Oh,
10 times
my
worse.
Gosh, man. 10 times worse. 10 times as many. It's gonna be everywhere. There's no chance that they do it then. So it would have to be after whatever event they have, whether it's physically like on a site or if it's virtual, whatever. It'd have to be after that event. I think the chances of it are slim, though. I think the chances are slim. I think they're gonna roll with Biden. I think they're gonna roll with him. I think they're gonna roll with him, man. It's not gonna be nice. But
yeah, man. I'm just not looking forward to any of these debates. Maybe there might, you know what? There might be a mutual agreement. Because we already know Trump said he didn't want to have debates.
Oh no, he wants to debate Biden.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
He probably, you know what?
Yeah, he wants.
He probably was just saying that just to hedge his bets because he didn't know who was going to win.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to. He
hasn't
said he didn't. You know, he didn't say he didn't want to debate. He hadn't said this like outright, but you can tell he was scared because he was trying to say, I don't want to have debates because they biased. Right. I'm like, so you can
that was just like him
projecting
for himself.
Out for himself if Bernie won. But yeah, you're right. Now he smells blood, and there's a lot of blood because like Biden has got like all kind of cuts everywhere. He's leaking everywhere. So yeah, I think Pascal. Was it Brad? Brian?
Brad,
Peter?
Brad,
whatever. Pascal is probably just sitting back like this, waiting. He's probably
Parscale.
Brad Parscale. That's his campaign manager or whatever.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah, he's just rubbing his hands. And he's already on Twitter. Trump is already on Twitter. Trump is already on Twitter talking about it, so he's ready.
Oh yeah, he had a response to Bernie's his suspension as well.
And matter of fact, I don't think he wrote that. Probably an aide wrote that. And it's like, and of course, dumbass resistance idiots, like, will take that and be like, because Trump mentioned Bernie and trying to court Bernie voters, and of course they say, see, you see, this is
told you was gonna happen.
He's gonna split. He's gonna split. I'm like, y'all are constantly talking about how he's a pathological liar and he's manipulative, but y'all be hanging on every word he say when it's convenient, when it provides an opportunity for you to shit on Bernie Sanders. Right. I was like, ain't no Bernie Sanders voters going over to Trump. Whatever voters go over to Trump that voted for Bernie, they were independents. Yeah. They weren't going to fucking vote for Biden anyway. Nah. They were independents. So, like this idea that Bernie split the party and he's going to deliver votes to Trump. I'm like, no. Trump is a con artist. It
happens in every election, though. I mean,
he doesn't even believe that.
You don't have just like one type of voter that is supportive of a candidate. There's conservative voters, there are liberal voters, there's progressive. I mean, there's all types of different types of voters, and maybe they come to the table because of one particular policy, or maybe a set of policies, or maybe something else. But there's going to be many of them, and there was even, I remember in 2016, I'm not sure that there was a lot of emphasis on that in 2020 this time around, but I remember there was a billionaires for Bernie in 2016. And so what he talks about in terms of, the very elite people in this country and this inorganic process of how they have accumulated their wealth and exacerbated the income and wealth inequality gap. So it seemed kind of weird for billionaires to be for Bernie, but there they were, Republicans. They were Republicans for, I don't know if it was called Republicans for Bernie or whatever, but there were Republicans that were actually like doing some campaigning for Bernie Sanders. So there's going to be all types of people that are going to be supportive of a particular candidate. There were conservative candidates that were supportive of Hillary Clinton in 2008, and they didn't vote for Barack Obama. So it's always going to be that. So these people
Puma.
Puma. So if there are Bernie supporters that are going to go to Trump, and I'm sure that there are going to be some that go to Trump, like you said, they were never going to vote for another Democratic candidate. They came to Bernie Sanders because of something specific that was only attributed to Bernie Sanders.
Like how can you just transfer Green Party votes to Hillary Clinton. Green Party is like, it's not like Green Party just sprung up.
Nah.
And it was some sort of offshoot of the Democratic Party.
Hell no.
I mean, there's always Green Party voters. So this idea that, well, the Green Party, destroyed it for Hillary Clinton in these states, if those voters wouldn't have voted for, if Jill Stein wouldn't have been there, Hillary would have won. Wisconsin and Michigan, and there's a third state, I think it was Pennsylvania. I can't remember what other state it was, where the amount of votes that Jill Stein got would have covered the gap between Trump and Clinton. I think it was like only one state, though.
I want to say it was either Michigan or Wisconsin.
Yeah, it was like one state. So I'm just like, Green Party votes Green Party. They are an actual party. Like, how you going to,
just take their vote?
Yeah, you think that's just not how it happens. Like, they vote for their party. No different than Republican or Democrat. So
people vote for that party's candidate
because they're in that party. So you can't just say, well, if the Green Party didn't run in somebody, those people would have voted for Hillary Clinton.
So, check it out. If Hillary Clinton, man, if she would have got out the race, damn, Jill Stein would have won, man. Selfish. See what happened?
It's like the whole a non-vote for Biden is a vote for Trump. That's what's going around now.
That's what they.
I'm like, I was like, okay,
this is recycled.
Well,
you remember, if you didn't support Hillary Clinton, that meant you were supportive of Trump.
But I'm also not voting for Trump. So if not voting for Biden is a vote for Trump, then not voting for Trump is a vote for Biden.
Nah, man.
That's how it works.
Not for them.
That's my maths. That's my maths.
You remember?
That's my maths, man.
Who was it that said it? I don't know if it was. I want to say it was Obama that said that in 2016. That it doesn't matter who you voted for. If you voted for a third party, if you voted for, I don't know if he specifically name dropped them, but who was the Libertarian candidate? Gary Johnson.
Yeah, Gary Johnson.
Vote for Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, anybody else. Anything that wasn't a vote for Hillary Clinton was a vote for Donald Trump. I'm like, damn. That's just like your equation of what you said? Bad Trump. No. You said what was the equation you put up there?
What?
Like,
what was like something I tweeted or something?
No, you said something about something Trump does not equal.
Oh, I said not Trump.
Yeah, that's
does
right.
not equal progressive.
Right. That's right. Right.
Like, that's pretty much simple.
That's right. Not Trump.
It's like a false dichotomy.
Yeah. That's like the same kind of equation. Yeah. There's only one option. There's only one option here. Actually, there's only two options. There's Trump, and then there's, I guess, whoever the Democratic nominee is. You don't have another option. If you take that other option, then that's a vote for Trump.
Speaking of Trump, like, what do liberals say about, people who voted for him in relation to what he expresses and his politics? What do they say? They say, Trump is a racist, he's a bigot, he's this. And if you vote for him, it makes you that. Right? Mm-hmm. That's what liberals say. That's what Democrats say. If you voted for a racist, that makes you a racist, or it makes you a racist apologist. But that seems to only apply to Trump. Like, why can't I take Republicans? Like, why can't I take that same logic to Joe Biden? Right? Why can't I take that same approach when it comes to Biden? So if you look at Biden's record and put that under a spotlight, if you look at all the lies, if you look at the agenda he advocated for, you're supporting all that stuff. So how are you going to tell me that I can't approach it the same way that you're telling people to approach it when it comes to a Republican and Donald Trump and what he projects? And so if those people who voted for him and support him are, by, I guess, extension, just like Trump because they voted for him, wouldn't I be the same way if I voted for Biden? So that's how I'm approaching it. I don't want to be an advocate for all that stuff. Right? I mean...
try that on Twitter. Good.
Hell no. Yeah, actually, I don't care. Man, if you, I don't even care. I don't care either. I don't be doing my mentions. I'm like, you can talk all you want. I don't care about that. Like, you can talk all you want.
I'm just saying.
I was like, I'll look at it and I'm like,
they're not going to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
It's not going to make sense. Because again, hypocrisy pointing out is overrated on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Both
sides. You remember
Both.
that the video that we showed you with Jordan Klepper of the Daily News?
Oh yeah,
or not the Daily News,
that
but
was
the Daily
Daily
Show.
Show with the yeah.
And that woman flipped in like 2.7 seconds.
It wasn't even that much. But if y'all are find yourself in a situation on social media, with I guess individuals who are questioning your voting habits or who you're voting for, who you're not voting for, and withholding your vote, or I don't know, like trying to guilt you because you don't want to vote for Joe Biden. Look up Lawrence O'Donnell. Look up. I think it's on. It should be on YouTube. And look up Lawrence O'Donnell explains how Democrats think. Look that up on YouTube. You can do it now or you can do it after the show. Look up Lawrence O'Donnell explains how Democrats think. It's a video. It's about 1:12. It's put out by a channel called Blood Money LLC. It's pretty funny. But yeah, it's little young Lawrence O'Donnell, and he explains why it's necessary to withhold your vote. He talks about how he worked with the Democratic Party and why that's necessary. And it's a very short video, 1:12. I edited a little bit out of it so I can post it on social media because I think Twitter is like 45-second limit. But yeah, look up Lawrence O'Donnell. Yeah, Twitter is 45 seconds. Well, it depends.
2 minutes 20 seconds.
Not for me.
You can't upload something that's 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
It makes me edit it. It's like 45, like 45 seconds.
They messing with you.
No, I think it's like I can't. It's like
I can upload something that's 2 minutes.
I don't know. What are you doing on a channel?
No.
On yours? See, I don't know. It doesn't let me do that. But yeah, look up Lawrence O'Donnell explains how the corporate Democrats think. That's something that you could use. Be like, hey, this is what a current MSNBC host said. So I'm just following his advice. It's pretty telling. He basically said, hey, the only way you could influence a party to advocate for your platform is to withhold your vote. That's what Lawrence O'Donnell said.
Yep. Charles Aiden said, what do you think about the movement for a People's Party? I didn't even know that was still a thing. Honestly, didn't even know that was still a thing. We, definitely heard about that. At least maybe that was a couple years ago, something like that. And we know that there was an event that they had, and it was like the Draft Bernie movement, something like that.
Oh yeah, but
it didn't go nowhere.
It didn't go nowhere because like in order to draft somebody, you got to at least like be involved in direct recruitment with that person.
Yeah.
Like they got to be like, you know what I'm saying? The person you're trying to draft has to be involved in the drafting process. You can't just sit around.
You have to have a willing participant, and Bernie was not a willing participant whatsoever. Like, I don't even think Bernie Sanders even addressed it.
He didn't enter the draft.
No.
Like a player ain't gonna get. He didn't enter the draft. He didn't become available to be on their team.
True.
At all. So it was kind of, to me, it was just them spinning their wheels. I understood, the motive, but I was just like, man, this is.
Yeah, I think we can all understand the motive, but I don't think it's, as far as I know, I don't think it's had any significant effect. If you know more than that, then I mean, you'd be giving me news. I really don't. I really don't know. Somebody said something I was gonna. Oh yeah, Skaboody said, I'd rather have someone that lies than a guy who supports serial killers voting, Unabomber voting, rapists voting. So you're talking about Bernie Sanders and how Bernie Sanders is supportive of everybody having the right to vote and not losing that right to vote. So it's telling that you would say that you'd rather have somebody that lies to you than somebody that advocates for everybody having voting rights. Everybody having voting rights does not cost you anything whatsoever. Doesn't cost you anything. What is going to be the negative situation for having everybody vote? What is that going to cost you personally? What's that going to cost anybody? They have a voice when it comes to the country. They have a voice when it comes to actually voting for stuff. They still live in the country. They're still citizens, but you don't want them to have a voice. Now compare that to somebody lying to you. That could cause harm to you. That could cause harm to you. You're willing to be lied to. You're willing to be manipulated. You're willing to be hurt rather than just everybody having voting rights. That does not sound sensible at all.
Exactly. Like I understand the concern because you're looking at these people with disdain. Even let's just say you could just they are guilty. They are objectively guilty, whether they confessed and they were rightfully convicted of a crime. I can see how you would have disdain for people like that because they harmed other human beings. But I'm saying, what's the argument? That's all. Like, nobody's denying that these may be horrible human beings, but it's like, how is it hurting you?
Yeah.
That's the question. Because if we're talking about society, society and keeping society safe surrounds mitigating harm, just keeping people safe. How is it hurting you? That's the question.
You'd have to
you could think about those people any way you want, and then it's fine. But like, how is?
Yeah, nobody's saying like positive things about people that are actual killers, vicious criminals, stuff.
But what percentage of the prison population are just hardened and vicious criminals?
Right.
So it's like, I don't think you should use those people as a shield. And so I ask the question again, like, how is it actually harming you? Like, if they can vote, in what ways would it harm you? I mean, because think about this. We have murderers and killers who represent us, don't we? When we talk about war criminals, they run the country. They run the country.
They still have the right to vote.
They still have the right to vote. They run the country. They do more. They can do more than just vote. They write laws, or they approve laws. But they approve laws.
Who doesn't lie about anything important? Skaboody said he doesn't lie about anything important. Who doesn't lie about anything important? I hope you're not talking about Trump. That can't be about Trump. Tell me that's not about Trump. He doesn't lie about anything important.
Depends on what's important to you, and maybe you shift what's important based on the lies he tells, which I can see how you can like constantly shift the goalposts because you can define what's important. Or when he lies about something, you can say, well, it wasn't important to me. So you can constantly shift. So I don't even want to, I already know you ain't rational, so.
Moose Gal, how do we change the narrative that if you don't vote for Biden, it's helping Trump win? You can't. Don't even try. I mean, look, you can try if you want to. You can try to engage on social media if you want to. It's not changing. They will say it until the end of time. And if Biden loses till the end of time, it will be Bernie's fault. No matter what happens. You're not going to change that. You're not going to change it. It's just not going to happen. Skaboody, Will, they are serious criminals. You like them. I don't.
We already said it's about whether we like them or not. We just want you to ask a question. Like, how is it hurting you? That's all.
Man. That's not a serious response.
How is it hurting you? Like, and again, it's like, it's one thing, it's like, the reason why we're even having this conversation is because we live in a system that doesn't treat people equally. And like you're worried about whether prisoners vote, and I can take the issue before that. Like I can take it to I can take the issue to its genesis, and why do we have so many prisoners in the first place? You see what I'm saying? We're not even willing to deal with that. Well, I'm not saying we're not willing to deal with that. It's probably a lot more difficult to deal with that situation. It's almost like, hey, like we're throwing a bone at this situation. We're trying to come out of the situation with some kind of positive because it's going to be difficult to reform the entire prison system because reforming the entire prison system is connected to reforming society in general. That's why the prison system is full.
So Skaboody also says, yes, it hurts society to not punish those who victimize others. You know what? They're in prison. They are actually being punished for their actions. When they are being sentenced, when they are taken to court, or if they take a plea agreement, right? part of that plea or part of that conviction is never about, you know what, also you know what also is gonna happen? We're gonna strip you of your right to vote. That's never considered, it's never talked about. It's just states have these laws surrounding if you're going to lose your voting rights or not, and when and if you can ever get them back. But the punishment angle of it is in the actual going to jail, going to prison, and spending a certain amount of time behind bars, locked up, not having your freedom. That's what that's about. It's not about voting, and it should not be about voting. That's not a certain way that you penalize somebody. You know what? If you want to penalize somebody by taking away their voting rights, I would start with the people that are engaged in gerrymandering. I would start with the people that are actually abusing the process of voting in terms of actually trying to restrict people's right to vote. Start with those. I wouldn't say a damn thing about taking their right to vote.
Where does it stop at? Where does it begin and end? Like, would it be okay to take their parental visitation away or something?
Yeah, because they have to be punished.
They got to be punished. So is all punishment fine? Like, if they're in prison or people not, what if you just take that right away? Their right to, have visitation, even if they haven't done anything to get that privilege revoked by, I guess, prison standards or whatever, prison rules. Can I write a law and say, hey, since you're being punished, and this is punishment, I can establish any kind of restriction I want because, hey, you committed a crime, you're punished. Right. So anything is permitted. Right. Hey, you can't see your kid, you can't visit. No,
because you need to be punished.
Because you need to be punished. Take that right away from you too.
So I was wrong. Skibooti is not talking about Trump. He's talking about Biden. Biden doesn't lie about anything important. He bungles. Okay. There was this thing called the Civil Rights Movement. Right?
This little thing.
There was this very tiny, small, minor thing throughout this long period of time, right, called the Civil Rights Movement. And Joe Biden, on many occasions throughout his lifehood, he has communicated that he played a significant part in the Civil Rights Movement. He participated in sit-ins. He participated in marches. He participated in protests. And he actually didn't do any of that. So when somebody says that, right, especially if they're, especially if they're a white guy, if they're a white politician, and especially given the fact that he has said that South Carolina was his firewall, it seems like that would be only done to try to convince black people that he's always been there for you. Biden has always been there for black people, and look what I have done for black people. See, I understood the struggle of black people even back then, years and years ago during the Civil Rights Movement. That's why I was so active.
He was trying to build his street cred.
All that shit was a lie. That wasn't important.
What's connected to that though? The whole Mandela thing.
Oh yeah, that was a new lie too. That wasn't from '88.
Yeah, that was
That was a brand new lie.
That was like a fresh baked lie.
Yeah, man. Fresh baked. Brand new. He didn't bungle that. He created it out of thin air. He created it, and then when he was questioned on it by, I think it was John Berman on CNN, said, "Oh, well, what I meant was, we were at the airport." And they wouldn't let me go with the black delegation, so they had me over here.
Airport security had escorted me into a different exit.
Yes. He said he got arrested.
But then, that's not bungled. Like that's he said he got arrested, and he didn't say he got arrested at the airport though.
Get out of here, man.
He got arrested in the streets. I'm like, come on now.
See, and you say, but getting to vote, or I guess not getting to vote, is part of their punishment. No, that's just what you want part of their punishment to be. While there's a whole collection of people that don't want that to be part of a prison imprisonment. That's the difference here. I don't care. No, I don't care. If it means, look, there are some vicious criminals out there, no doubt. There are people that have taken the lives of human beings. I don't feel any type of warm feelings towards them whatsoever. Many people could say, I hope they rot in hell, especially if it was somebody connected to me, somebody that I felt some type of feelings for, a friend, family member, something like that. Oh yeah, the feeling just intensifies. And yeah, I mean, I might want you to suffer because of how much suffering that you have created in my life. So I can understand those feelings. But when you're talking about everybody that's involved in the prison system, everybody that is locked up, and you know that within that population of people, there are many that are innocent. So
get harsher sentences.
Yes. Harsher sentences based on what they look like, where they came from, what they sound like, whatever, right? So I have to be against all these people. I have to take away all these people's voting rights because a certain segment of this population I have very negative feelings about. Nah, man. Nah. How about we just do things across the board? I got no time to make special rules for this person, this person, this. How about we just have a right to vote in this country? How about that? We just have the right to vote in this country. You can't take it away. We have the right to vote.
Unalienable rights, right?
Unalienable rights, right? It seems like that's the simplest thing to do here. But you are paying attention to the murderers. Oh my gosh, the murderers having the right to vote. How about you pay attention to the other people that are sitting in jail that can't get out because they can't afford the bail or the bond? How about that? No thought about them, right? So the murderer is more important to you than the mug that can't get out of jail that is innocent sitting in jail.
Again, we got to take it back we got to take it back to why this is even an issue. You know what I'm saying? We got so many people in prison. We got so many people in prison, man.
We got to oppress everybody because there's one murderer that I don't want that mug to vote.
Like, I think there's always going to be a group of people that's going to engage in aberrant behavior. There always. But it's like the fact that we're talking about prisons and anyway, the fact that we're talking about this kind of, it necessitates another conversation about like why society creates this class of people that is funneled into prison. Like, if you want to have that conversation, then.
All right. This has been a good conversation. We thank you everybody that's been involved in the chat, asking questions of us, talking to each other. We always like to see that. Definitely appreciate all of our people that contributed via the super chat tonight. Like we said, there were some that we can't see right now. We can't access that because of the
cord was cut.
Yeah, the cord was definitely switched off.
Shoosh.
I definitely wanted to. There was one more super chat from let's see, Tanya A. Once again in a message. Thank you, Tanya.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate it.
Got that Corona cash.
Corona
cash. Appreciate it.
Another shout out to all of our supporters and all of our patrons on patreon.com. Thank you very much for delivering support to us each and every month, contributing to our channel financially. Can't be easy for everybody. We understand that. Not easy for everybody. And if you do, humbly accept your support. That's all we got. I still don't know why we're not being able to broadcast on Twitter. I checked the method that we use to send out the feed, and doesn't look like anything's wrong. But I don't know. Maybe we just need to redo it, because nothing's getting in the way of the YouTube broadcast. I don't believe anything's getting in the way of the Twitch broadcast. But for some reason, the Periscope broadcast is having some errors. Yeah, see? Some reason. I don't understand. Hold up. Got 3 people watching on Twitch? Usually it's 1. Coming up.
3-4.
We coming up.
That's 3-4.
Yo, what's up, Twitch? What's up, man?
Twitchers.
How you doing out there?
Twitchers in the house. What's up, man? Twitchers in the house.
What's going on? Thank you for being here. We're about to go now.
I know, right?
But anyway, everybody take care this weekend. Nothing going on like usual because everything's shut down. But we will be back in a few days. 5 more days? I assume that things are going to get much worse in terms of the coronavirus updates, the totals, the death tolls. I assume that things are going to get much worse as they have been.
And as things get worse, you're probably going to see Trump talk about how great his administration has been at handling it.
Right. Most likely.
I mean, we've already seen that. But as it gets worse, he's going to try to kind of stiff arm the reality and kind of try to create a new one. He's already doing that. He's been doing that the whole time. He just does it in a different way. But yeah.
Oh no, we definitely prefer YouTube. Yeah, we definitely prefer YouTube. I mean, we got people that watch us on different I guess platforms, but YouTube is where we could potentially make some revenue from that if we have viewers on YouTube. So that would be the first choice.
Right. Skaboody, you funny. You funny. Thanks for watching the show.
Skaboody is funny.
Skaboody,
I think it's Skaboody that was talking about me looking like Santa's helper. That was funny.
Yeah.
That was funny. I could appreciate a joke. Self-deprecating humor. I can do that. All right. So, again, appreciate it. We'll be back in a few days. Everybody take care. Stay in the house unless you have to go out. Wear a face covering if you do have to go out. I guess that's all the advice I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just try to, dodge and juke around coughs and sneezes.
True.
You know what I'm saying? If you see a cough, just
get out of there, man.
Like, go the long way. Just go around. Run. Yeah, run.
True. Like somebody shooting at you.
That pretty much that's actually what it is.
That's what it is, man. Because that junk can get through the air. What'd you say? How many miles per hour?
I don't know. It depends on, the sneezer.
The sneeze something?
It depends on the sneezer, the nose,
yeah, man.
how big they are or whatever.
Get up out of there.
Fast.
Looks like a very late in the broadcast, another super chat, Final Fantasy Draft, trying to sneak it in there. If Pete is his VP, I'll actively campaign against him. That's, I guess, a bridge too far for you. Damn.
That's the candidates with the most billionaires right there.
Yeah. Boy, super team. A super team, man.
A super team. A B team. A literal B
for
team.
Billionaires.
Billionaires. See, a B team.
Yeah, literally. All right, appreciate it, Final Fantasy Draft. Appreciate everybody. Anyway, we'll be back in a couple days, few days, 5 days. We'll see you then. Peace out, everybody.